that one forward, finds Carter Lowe through the neutral zone. Lowe waits, takes the shot, kicks aside, rebound, scores! Cole Bodwin!
Welcome to the Tribute Community Center in Oshawa as we get ready for tonight's road game between the Barrie Colts and the Oshawa Generals. I'm your host, Mike Poirier, joined alongside Josh McCann. And for this Barrie Colts team, quite the game last night against the Sudbury Wolves. Their Central Division rivals kind of let off the gas a little bit at the start of the second period. Sudbury took advantage, getting a couple of goals with that 2-1 lead. But then suddenly the Colts woke up and they're once again playing Barrie Colt hockey and ended up winning 5-2.
Yeah, it looked like at one point the Colts might be getting goalied by Carson Chartier, a guy that hadn't started a game since December. And he had a really good first period, stopping 16 of 17. But in the second period, Barrie just kept with it. They weren't getting the goals they were looking for. And eventually, once they broke it open there with 3 straight goals late in the second period. The final 5 minutes of that second period took about 45 minutes of real time with the amount of physicality. And I know Mason Sebeski's going to touch on it at intermission, how exciting it was to be a part of that Barrie-Sudbury rivalry, even if it was just for one game. A very entertaining one last night, even though Barrie's near the top, Sudbury's near the bottom. They always make it close, similar to these two teams tonight.
And it was quite interesting how the schedule was set up because it felt as though we were living in Sudbury at one point at the start of the regular season, and then New Year's Eve comes and goes. And
that was a whole new team last night.
Exactly, with Nemitz and Hovan, what a great combination they had. And it was, even though you had a new-look Sudbury team, the Barrie Colts woke up and were ready for that one. But now they get ready for another rival, the Oshawa Generals, a team that will not be making the playoffs this year. It's kind of strange thinking that we won't be coming back here to Oshawa for playoff hockey because it's been Colts and Generals for the last 2 seasons. And now the Oshawa Generals looking to the future and looking forward to that draft lottery coming up in a few weeks.
Yeah, and we've both been in the building for both playoff series. So getting in, getting out is like that. It's just so easy to work everything around here. I mean, Barrie and Oshawa, 2 great playoff series. Even if last year was a sweep, I thought it was still pretty entertaining 4 games there. Game 2 was a bit rough and just kind of dragged on. But outside of that, 3 really good playoff games between them last year. And that game series 2 years ago really helped build the Barrie Colts into the future and what this core is now. Players like Cole Bodwin and Kayshawn Aitchison starting to step up, a goaltender, and Sam Hillebrandt leading the charge in that series. And the Oshawa Generals, they came into that series probably thinking 4 or 5 games, at least the fan base was thinking that's for sure. And the Barrie Colts, they pushed hard and nearly were able to get a series victory over Oshawa if a couple different things squeaked their way.
And it was a nice touch pregame during the warm-up here at the Tributes Community Center. Arvin Jaswal, who's from Pickering, Ontario, just down the 401 from where we're located, and he had his rookie lap. It took him until almost the end of the regular season to go out there and have that moment out on the ice, which has to be pretty special for Arvin Jaswal. He's been sensational this year, named OHL Goaltender of the Week last week, had his winning streak snapped Thursday night against the Ottawa 67s, but he's going to get the start here tonight, and it's got to be pretty special for Arvin Jaswal.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the story of Arvin Jaswal is a pretty special one this season. I mean, he came in as the backup, and he was still going to have to prove that role. If the Barrie Colts were going to contend, they were obviously going to want 2 goaltenders. So Arvin Jaswal, he needs to show up. He needs to be a good goaltender, or else potentially maybe another guy steals that role, like a Hagenbach or an outside ad. And for Jaswal, he took it and he ran with it from his first game to his most recent one against Ottawa, which, even though he lost, was one of his most impressive. He made some huge saves. Dylan Smoskowitz was telling Gene they gave up 10 scoring chances in the first period. Ottawa only had 1 goal. That's how good Arvin Jaswal was in the first period. He kept them in it all night long, made a couple of huge saves in overtime. Just 1 extra save by Ryder Fedorov cost Jaswal a win against a really good Ottawa team.
Now I'm seeing the chat has been quite active. So good evening to Adam, Matthew, Richard, even to Robert. And Robert's actually mentioning, hoping that they're going to start resting some players before the playoffs. And yesterday, some shenanigans in that second period, resulting in some players getting some rest and suspensions. Calvin Crombie handed a 1-game suspension for that tilt at the end of the period. The extra man in, and this is that time of year where you really want to play that fine line. You know the Barrie Colts are in the postseason. They're waiting to find out who their opponent's going to be in that opening round, and you don't want to have those injuries and you don't want to take those suspensions.
Yeah, obviously. And obviously with injuries, you're going to take them a bit more easier than you would in a couple of weeks' time or early in the season. Evan Passmore, for example, hurt his hand last night. He's all good, though. X-rays were negative. He could have played today, wanted to play today, but Dylan Smoskowitz said, you know what? Let's sit you down. Let's rest you for a bit. Like, we need that guy come playoff time. And for Carter Lowe, he got a bit unlucky last night. He tried to fight with Henry Doucette. Doucette kind of just faked, and then went boom like that.
Please don't hit the camera.
I was very careful. Don't worry. But yeah, so good to see Lowe back in the lineup wearing the fishbowl. And then for Calvin Cromie, of course, he's only out one game, so he'll miss tonight. Back for the rest of the week. Obviously, you do have to be careful this time of year, but at the same time, I mean, Calvin Cromie is, that's one part of the reason the Barrie Colts have such a special group standing up for each other. Carter Lowe gets sucker punch. Calvin Cromie comes in and takes the punishment for it.
And since this is our last 3 regular season road games of, for 25-26, each game we're going to talk to the overagers. So today, as Josh mentioned, Mason Zabeski will be our first intermission interview, and then we'll chat with Crombie and Gardner as the week progresses. But last night, a very special ceremony as the Barrie Colts honoring some graduating players, Kayshawn Aitchison, Cole Beaudoin, and Emil Hemming. Quite a special ceremony before the game, and it's quite surreal to see how these are homegrown talent for this Barrie Colts team. They were drafted and played their whole junior careers and are now getting ready to take that next step in their professional hockey careers.
Yeah, it's funny. All the overagers played more than half their games outside of Barrie, but for the 3 graduates, they never left the Barrie Colts. And watching Cole Beaudoin, Kayshawn Aitchison, Emil Hemming, especially those first 2, though, Beaudoin and Aitchison that have been here for 4 years, they were here when Brant Clark, Evan Vierling, and Ethan Cardwell was the core of this team. And now here they are a few years later leading this team into a deep playoff run potentially. And I think that's one of the cooler new things that teams are starting to do is honoring their graduates. 'Cause in past years, guys like that didn't get any really honoring at any game.
Yeah.
But we all just kind of knew they were gone. So it was interesting. And that started a lot last year. A few teams started doing it. Barrie did it last year. Honoring Bo Akey and Tristan Bertucci on top of their overagers last season.
Yeah, so a nice touch. And actually, with Dylan Smoskowitz pregame, had a chance to talk about just that. So we'll go to our Coach's Corner, presented by Mariposa School of Skating.
Catching up with Barrie Colts head coach Dylan Smoskowitz. Pretty special ceremony before the game last night, honoring some graduating players, Aitchison, Beaudoin, and Hemming, 3 first-round NHL picks. Quite remarkable what they've been able to achieve, and yet their careers are just getting started here.
Yeah, I mean, all 3 of those guys are going to go on to have, or to go on to bigger and better things than just the OHL or the Barrie Colts or anything like that. But, as an organization, to have those 3 homegrown, you didn't go and sell all your draft picks, you didn't go and sell all your future for these guys. You developed them, you drafted them, your scouts did the homework on them to select them. Marty did a great job, and Howie going out to identify Emil Hemming in Finland and doing a great job of convincing him to leave the pro league over there and leave his hometown to come here in Barrie. But, again, it's to have these guys from 16 to 19 and see how far they've all come. It was really special to have that moment for them with their families in front of our home crowd like that. Their first year as the 06s with Cash and Kobo specifically was my first year as a coach, so it meant a lot to me as well to kind of see how far these guys have come, and they're definitely leaving here as grown men, so it was awesome to be a part of.
And talking a bit about last night's game against Sudbury, that second period kind of got a little wild there, especially with the lengthy review at the end of the second, but the guys seemed to stay focused and finished strong with that one.
Definitely, and it's, in playoff series, as we kind of get closer to that time of year, one thing we speak about a lot is kind of keeping a calm mind. I mean, there's going to be so many different things that could sway you away from the game plan or get in your head and kind of derail you a little bit. So for us to go through a learning experience like that so close to playoffs, I thought was huge, and I really liked our answer. I didn't like the way we came out to start that second period, and then the physicality started and some of the the nastiness after the whistles and stuff like that. But I really liked our third. We gave up a very low number of shots, gave up a very low number of scoring chances. The only thing I would like to improve on next time is the amount of penalties we took in third. But for our guys to maintain that calm, cool, collected mindset and understand what the game plan was and not lose that, not lose sight of it, was a good sign for us.
And now that we're a week away from the postseason, obviously you want to avoid injuries, you want to avoid suspensions and whatnot. So hearing that Passmore and Carter Lowe seem to be okay, that's got to be a big sigh of relief for you guys.
Definitely. I mean, it's such a you can't just sit everybody. You want these guys to kind of ride a high going to the playoffs, and you want to continue to build chemistry within your lines and deep pairs and special teams. So, we don't want to sit too many guys all at once, but at the same time, you don't want to risk injury. It's always it's a difficult decision for both management and coaching staff alike to kind of come together on and then talk about. But Evan Passmore's great. He could be in the lineup today if need be. But good thing for us, we have some good depth at all positions. So Teague Vader's going to get a shot today, which we're pumped to watch him play. Carter Lowe is back in the lineup. He's got a bubble on. He's got teeth all moved around his mouth, but he got back before we all left the rink last night and said, "Coach, you better be putting me in the lineup tomorrow. I'm ready to go." So you get guys like that, just warriors who want to be a part of it, even though these games don't really mean much. It goes a long way.
And I was just going to say, playing this Oshawa Generals team, a team that's out of the postseason picture, but when you've got Govro, you've got Vader coming into the lineup, it's a nice way to give them that ice time, but to see what you have, especially when it comes to depth come playoff time.
Yeah, it's not even to see what we have. We know what we have. We these guys, whether they're in the lineup on a daily basis or not, we know exactly what they are just throughout the season for practices, even our pre-scouts and identifying these guys way before they ever became Barrie Colts. We know the kind of makeup and the character of these guys. So really it's just keeping them sharp and to be able to get some game touches and get some game reps and be sharp going into the playoffs, because you never know when you're going to get that tap in the shoulder and your name's going to be called upon to provide a big moment for this group down the road. So if we can keep these guys mentally ready and physically engaged, I think we put ourselves in a pretty good spot.
So that was Barrie Colts head coach Dylan Smoskowitz, and some great news after what we saw in the game yesterday against the Sudbury Wolves. First, Evan Passmore blocking that shot with his right hand. In the moment, it didn't look great, especially the way he reacted. So he did get some x-rays. They all came back negative. So Evan Passmore will be okay, just not in the lineup here tonight. And then Carter Lowe. We actually saw Carter Lowe return when we were leaving the arena last night. He said, "Oh yeah, I just went off to get some dental work done, and he's okay, and he's going to be wearing the full fishbowl, and he's going to be solid." So it just goes to show the mentality of hockey players. They don't want to miss any ice time despite what looks like a pretty nasty injury.
That's funny. All three of us, you, me, and Gene, were all heading out at the same time, and there's Carter Lowe walking back in. It's kind of like a Stone Cold Steve Austin entrance. He's back flying into the rink and ready to go. But yeah, I mean, that's the mentality, and it's always good to see, because there's some guys would probably just say, "Oh, well, we don't have much to play for. I'm sitting." But the Barrie Colts, obviously, the mentality is wanting to play every single game, especially this time of year. And so for Carter Lowe, obviously, it's a bit easier to get back in the lineup when it's a tooth matter instead of a hand matter. Don't think he can do any more damage to the teeth. And if he does, it's just the same replacement. But obviously, for Evan Passmore, you do want to give him the day off after hitting your hand like that, and just make sure everything's good and not putting too much pressure on it. A game that paid off.
There we go. That's the one thing we have to contend with when we're here at the Tributes Community Center, is that horn. As the players coming on the ice, the Oshawa Generals wearing their St. Patrick's Day jerseys. So they're going green, just like what we saw last night with the Barrie Colts embracing this time of year. But it should be an entertaining game. The Oshawa Generals, yes, they're at the bottom of the Eastern Conference standings, but this is a team that's been playing some good hockey of late. They won in Peterborough just the other night, and a lot of their scores, 1 or 2 goal differences. It's not like they're getting blown out of the water like some other teams, which has become more common with others missing the playoffs.
Yes, obviously, when you get to the end of the year, you're struggling. You've sold off the deadline. It may not just be it may just not be your year. Sorry, and the Oshawa Generals, it's not their year, but they're still competing and putting in a great effort. Even the last time we were here, all the way back in January, it just felt like every game they were on a 12-game losing streak. They probably could have won 6 of those games because they're so close in all of them. It just comes down to that finish, and in those final moments, they can't seem to get that extra goal. They pull the goalie, puck goes down the ice, empty net, and then it kind of ends. But they're not losing 7-1 every night. They're losing tight games. Matthew Humphreys, he struggled as of late, but he is able to steal games. He's back in the lineup tonight after an injury against Peterborough and ready to go.
Yeah, and it's outstanding for Oshawa. Picking up Matthew Humphreys from the Niagara Ice Dogs earlier this year. When he was with Niagara, it just seemed like nothing was going his way. He gets a bit of a restart in Tier 2, gets called up to the Generals after that trade, and he seems to be very comfortable in net and put up some great numbers coming over. And it took him a while to get that first win, but for Oshawa, wanting to have that foundation, getting a goaltender like Humphreys is going to be a great start for them.
Well, it's something that felt like it was needed as well, because it kind of just got to a point where Isaac Gravel had lost the trust of the coaching staff. He wasn't getting played, and Jaden Gillette was on a run of about 15 straight games, and he's never been a starter before in the OHL, so they needed that second guy in net. They go to Matthew Humphreys, and he's even taken over that starting role here in Oshawa.
Yeah, so we'll see what is in store here as we get ready for the Barrie Colts and the Oshawa Generals. They're doing a bit of a ceremony, and then we'll get the national anthems underway. But when we return, we will have puck drop here from the Tributes Community Center here in Oshawa. So we're just about ready to go for the first period of play between the Barrie Colts and the Oshawa Generals. While we have a moment, let's take a look at our starting goaltenders, presented by Craighurst Crossing by Georgian Communities. New homes, minutes from North Barrie, where inspired living meets small town charm.
Well, for the Barrie Colts, Pickering, Ontario native Arvin Jaswal getting his hometown game here tonight. 17-3, 1-1 on the season for Jaswal with a .927 save percentage and a 2.23 goals against average. His last start came on Thursday against the 67s, where he lost that one after stopping 33 of 36 in an overtime defeat. For the Oshawa Generals, Matthew Humphreys getting the start, 4-16, 2-0 on the year with an .890 save percentage and a .368 goals against average. Humphreys got the start against Peterborough on March 12th. He stopped 9 of 9 before being removed from the game due to an injury.
Our referees tonight, Lacey Senek and James Kraft, and on the lines, Justine Todd and David Daniel Pendleton. So we are just about ready to go as the Barrie Colts in their road whites and the Oshawa Generals sporting their St. Patrick's Day greens, as that seems to be a growing trend around the OHL. Everyone busting out the green sweaters at St. Patrick's Day, except the Erie Otters one-upped everybody and had green ice. So that's the only place that we had the green ice.
Well, Barrie Colts, plans for next year.
There we go. First period underway. Face-off won by the Generals. They send this one ahead. That's deflected deep into the Barrie zone. And that's going to be a quick icing call against Oshawa. So we'll bring this face-off back.
Well, I know we always worry about with jerseys like this, how you can read the names, but the white on the green looks all right.
Well, you can clearly see the numbers and the name on these jerseys. So you know what? That's a plus. Last night's jerseys in Barrie were nice, but I was having some issues with the names at times.
That's nice. Or it's nice for me. Other people get my interviews, so I just...
Well, there you go.
Oh, Bodwin's here. Okay, we'll do the interview.
No, we'll take it. Generals quickly send it up the ice. Aitchison putting it behind the net. The booze already starting, even though it was a brief touch. Wang has it in the corner, sends it behind the net. Figliumani trying to get it up. He's tied up by Aitchison. Those two are going to go into the boards. Figliumani He loses it. Picked up here by Hanser. Smirnov throws his weight around. Vlasic keeps the puck deep in the Barrie zone. Aitchison trying to get a stick on it. Puck sent ahead. Carter Lowe at the fishbowl. Gets the line. Not out. Jaden Newton, though. He'll skate this one forward. Dumps it in. Puck's going to go deep. Humphreys plays it into the skates of Vlasic. He'll send it around. Ben Wilmot picks it up here for the Colts. Along the boards. That's blocked. Rogowski's going to send it over, and the Generals get it out. Puck sent deep. Rogowski after it. Vader gives chase. Cuts him off. Calto behind the net. Trying to pass it in front. That's taken away by Wilmot. And the Colts get it down the ice. Icing indicated. And we'll get the whistle, and they'll bring it back.
Well, Matthew Humphrey is going to be an interesting part of this game to watch tonight between the Colts and the Generals. If you remember back to January, Humphreys played 2 really strong games against the Oshawa Generals. Against the Barrie Colts. He lost both of them, but Colts had some good looks, and he made some great saves. But over his last 11 games that he's fully completed, he hasn't had a save percentage above 900. His last start above a 900 was back on January 27th.
There's a quick shot off the faceoff, stopped by Jaswal. Colts are going to get it out to center ice. Moore picks it up here for Oshawa. He's going to dump it in. Around the boards it goes. Emil Hemming on the far side. Drops it back to Vader. Teague Vader, he'll pass this one up. Wilmot to Beaudoin. Beaudoin's going to send it across. That's out of the reach of Hemming. Icing waved off. Lachon back to pick it up here for the Generals. He loses it to Beaudoin. Puck goes in the air. Griffin trying to get it out. Knocks it out to the neutral zone. That's going to sail all the way back into the Barrie end. Gabriel Eliason's going to come up with it. Both teams complete a change. Zabeski in the neutral zone. He's going to dump it in. Around the boards it goes. Humphreys out of his net to slow it down. Loose puck picked up by Emerton on the far side. Cole Emerton sends it around behind the Oshawa net. Mason Zabeski from the corner hits the brakes. Zabeski around the Oshawa net, stays with it. Back to Emerton at the point. Cole Emerton takes the shot, blocked in front. Postumus will come up with it and backhands it out to center ice. Generals are going to dump this deep into the Barrie zone. Ends up in the corner. Hine trying to get to it for the Generals, but it's Barrie with it once again. Zabeski up ahead to Gardner. Brad Gardner skates it in for the Colts between the legs. Ends up in the corner. Gardner stays with it. A couple of green sweaters come in on him. Generals trying to get it out. It's at the blue line. Great work, Aitchison, to keep it in momentarily, but then it's knocked out by Franzen. Aitchison back into his own zone with it for the Barrie Colts. He's tied up. Sang takes it away. Sang along the boards. Desiderio trying to knock that one free. It goes deep into the Barrie zone. Hanser around his own net. Sang trying to tie him up. Getting in the way of that pass attempt. That was Porter Bird Leitner. Generals with possession. There's the shot. Bounces wide of the net. Ends up in the corner. Sang takes the hit there from Aitchison. Gets it again. Back to the point. Moore fires. Stopped by Jaswal. As that's sent to the corner, Barrie Colts will get this one down the ice. Eamon Edgar chasing after it. Hilton can't hold on to that one. Ends up in the corner. Edgar trying to pass it in front. That's blocked. Loose puck picked up by Oshawa. They get it to the line and out. That was Sam Roberts who moved it forward, carrying it in to Smirnov. He'll hit the brakes. Smirnov back to the point. Hilton up the middle, and that shot's deflected out of play. And we'll get a face-off as Barrie still looking for their first shot of the hockey game.
Well, Eamon Edgar out there on the ice right now, and it's been on a pretty strong run. A really nice goal last week against North Bay, and then nice play on an assist on Cole Beaudoin's goal, the game winner last night for the Colts. And for Edgar, starting to get more minutes. I mean, everyone's healthy. He's in the lineup last night, and then as well, it looked like Dylan Smoskowitz getting him the odd shift with Cole Beaudoin and Emil Hemming there in the second period.
Yeah, he's been becoming more of that forechecker where he's creating those turnovers, and saw, like you said, that great goal that he set up for Cole Beaudoin. So Eamon Edgar fitting in quite nicely in his rookie season. Colts moving up. Here's Schneid. He's going to dump it in for Barrie. Chases after it himself. Schneid taken in the boards by Vlasic. Puck comes around the net. Generals with possession. Figlamani sends it forward. That's going to roll on net, so no icing, and Jaswal simply covers it up. And we'll get a face-off with 16-11 still to play here in the first period.
Barrie changing things up on the back end. Obviously, no Evan Passmore, so Teague Vader getting another opportunity. And it means Justin Hanser's up on that top pairing alongside Kayshawn Aitchison. Aitchison playing on the right side today, which he's obviously used to. Remember last year, Kristen Bertucci and him both left shots on that top pairing for Barrie.
It's a fun combination, Vader and Von Richter. Great
Here we go.
name pattern there.
Here we go.
Well, Gene already called me before the game to talk about the names.
And that's rare. Gene's a after the game caller, not a pregame caller.
Yeah, it's a little different when he calls pregame. Puck's going to go down the ice. William Schneid after it here for the Colts. Gets in the corner. He's tied up there by DiPlacido. DiPlacido trying to get this one out. And that's going to be flipped down into the neutral zone. Generals trying to pick it up. Rogowski back to DiPlacido. Calto on the wing. Puck got away from him. He's able to recover. Rogowski follows it up to the net. Shot stopped by Jaswal. Rebound up the middle. Griffin comes up with it for the Generals. Passes this one to the near side for Moore, and that shot's deflected over the net. Justin Hanser gets the loose puck here for the Colts. He'll send it up ahead. Picked up here by Hemming. He's got a breakaway. Hemming shot stopped by Humphreys. Rebound. Bodwin back to Wilmot. Shot scores. Ben Wilmot with the finish. All three players on this line get a touch. And it's 1-0 for the Barrie Colts.
What a great play by Cole Bodwin and Justin Hanser here. Hanser, the great pass up to Hemming. Went for the shot. Humphreys the save, but Cole Bodwin with eyes in the back of his head just quickly spins, fires it across to Wilmot, who's wide open. Not a lot of a chance there for Matthew Humphreys. And just like that, Oshawa looked like they were getting more of the possession here early in this first period, but the Colts strike first, less than 5 minutes in.
Yeah, so Ben Wilmot now 25 goals on the season. All started with that breakaway chance for Emil Hemming. So the Barrie Colts on the board. 5 minutes now gone in the opening period. Puck's at center ice. Possumus had it for a moment. Hemming trying to get it up to Bodwin, taken there by Vlasic. Now to center ice. Here's Franzen. Franzen will dump this one in. That goes wide of the net. Possumus on the far side. He'll kick it behind the Barrie net. With Possumus trying to keep it away from Eliasson along the board. Sends it back into the corner. Here's Cole Emerton. Emerton flips this one ahead. Possumus will block that clearing attempt. Bodwin, though, picks his pocket. Next, sends it out to center. Frolov in his own zone. Passes that one across. Generals get it out. Emerton takes it at center. He'll send it back to Eliasson. Eliasson up to Wilmot on the wing. He'll hit the brakes. He stood up. Possumus takes away here for the Generals. Oshawa with possession. They reach center. It's Possumus. He'll dump this one in. He's going to go off for a change. Von Richter behind his own net. Picked up here by Vader. Gardner receives the pass. Sends it over to Parker Von Richter. Up to Teague Vader. Vader back to Gardner. Salandra at the point. Sends this one around. It hits Gardner in this heel. And the Generals take it away and they'll clear it up. Salandra back to Von Richter. Vader being chased by Sang. He'll go back to Von Richter, who's in front of his own net. Sends this one out to center ice. Generals dump it back in. Forcing the Colts to regroup. Teague Vader behind his own goal. He's got Brad Leitner putting on the pressure. Colts moving up. Sebeski has that one go off his skate. It's going to slide all the way back into the Oshawa zone. Hilton up to Roberts. That pass misses. And they're going to wave off the icing. They're going to say Gabriel Eliasson could have played it. Eliasson comes out from behind the net. Passes it up. Here's Brad Gardner. He'll send it around the boards. Hilton after it. Zabeski trying to get a stick on it. Hilton will take it away. Sends it behind the net for Moore. Lucas Moore sends it up the wing. Figlimetti got a stick on it. Linesman gets in the way. Smirnov puts this one off Cole Emerton. That's going to go deep. Carter Lowe there to pick it up. Lowe comes from behind the net. Up to Schneid. That puck bounces over his stick. Tuxedo. He'll pick it up again for Oshawa. Generals skated up the wing. Griffin dumps this one in. Back after it is Eliasson. He'll take a bump. Generals trying to keep this one down low. Figlimetti, his pass blocked. Eliasson was in the way. Carter Lowe in the far corner comes up with it. He'll put it off the glass and down the ice. Knocked down at center. Schneid gets to it. Newton, he's got Schneid going to the net. Off his skate. Trying to spin around, but he was tied up at the side of the goal. Generals move it up. At the point, kept in by Carter Lowe. Schneid takes the shot. That's going to go wide in the net. Jaden Newton there for the Colts. Sends this one around. Barrie right now making a line change. Puck goes to the corner. Frolov with possession. Puts this one back to DiPlacido. DiPlacido in the corner. Facing pressure there from Newton. Generals tried on the near side. Figlimetti gets this one out to center ice. That's dumped in. Kayshawn Aitchison will come back to pick it up behind his own net. Aitchison up to Hemming. Emil Hemming, backhand pass to Bodwin. Bodwin dumps it in. Hemming behind the net. He'll send it around the boards. Aitchison comes off the point to play it, but Rogowski will send it down the ice. Colts get it at their own blue line. Here's Hanser, up to Beaudoin, backhand pass. Wilmot can't hold it. Beaudoin, though, follows it up. Over to Wilmot, quick pass to Hemming. Email Hemming, side of the goal, stopped by Humphreys. Hemming with the wraparound, it's loose, it's behind Humphreys, now it's in front. Generals get it to the line and just out. Hanser couldn't keep it in. What a save by Humphreys. Not sure how he kept that one out. But the Barrie Colts with Email Hemming coming oh so close to having a 2-0 lead. Here's Griffin the other way for the Generals. Puck goes to the corner. He's taken into the boards by Hanser. Loose puck picked up by Desiderio. Here's Cole Beaudoin on the wing. Beaudoin back to Desiderio. The fans are getting upset because Aitchison is tied up behind the play with Tyler Hine. No penalty. Play continues. Aitchison in his own zone. He'll pass it up to Gauvreau. Gauvreau to Desiderio. Nicholas Desiderio is just going to dump this one in as we're now past the 9-minute mark of the first period. Still 1-0 for the Barrie Colts. Ben Wilmot, your goal scorer. Gauvreau has it at center. He's knocked down. Vlasic across to Franzen. Can't control that pass. Franzen sends it back to the point. That's just kept in by Vlasic. He'll send this one around. Sang trying to catch up to it. Ends up back at the point. Generals trying to keep it along the boards. Desiderio gets to that loose puck. He's taken into the boards by Sang. Trying to send this one around. Back at the blue line. Frolov to Vlasic. One-timer score! Brady Vlasic with the one-timer from the point. There was a crowd in front of Arvin Jaswal, and the Generals have tied this game at 1.
Well, Oshawa hadn't got a shot off since the Barrie Colts goal until that one. Nice one-timer by Vlasic. Bader and Franzen out front of the net, causing a screen. Great shot by Vlasic. Not what you expect out of a guy that only has 1 goal in 61 games this year, but great look there, and the Generals have tied the game.
Yeah, what a blast from Vlasic. As Oshawa looked like they were going to lose that puck at the point, but they somehow keep it in play, and you get the traffic in front of the net.
It was a blastic.
I see what you did there. This is the kind of night it's going to be, huh?
Well, we haven't been on the road in a while, so.
It's been a week and a half since that school day game in Brampton. Puck's in front of the net. Gardner trying to get a stick on it, but the Generals will get it out. Through center, Sang will dump it in. Aitchison after it. Roberts trying to cut him off. Sebeski comes out from behind the net. Flips this one in the air. Puck's bouncing. Moore comes up with it. He'll send this one out. Aitchison will flip it right back into the General zone. Lachon there to collect it now for Oshawa. Moore back to Lachon. Long pass. Deflected there by Wang. Wang keeps it in. No, they're going to say that is offside. And we'll get a whistle with 9:20 remaining. But a pretty good pace to this first period. Not too many whistles, but we're also not seeing a lot of that physical play that we're used to.
Well, that was the first whistle since about 17 minutes left in the period that wasn't for a goal. I mean, two teams going back and forth, some good looks on both sides, and it's been a pretty tight game so far. Credit to the Generals. They've stuck with it. I thought they were the better team to start. Barrie gets the goal, and all of a sudden they kind of start getting things going, but then big response by Oshawa there and Brady Vlasic.
9:20 left to go in the first period. Shots on goal, 4-3 for the Barrie Colts. So we haven't seen too much in the way of shots either. A lot of passes not connecting right now in the neutral zone, but we'll see how this game moves along. The faceoff will come outside the Barrie Colts blue line. But obviously for this Oshawa Generals team, they're not going to make the postseason, but this is about playing for jobs for next year.
Yeah, there's still a lot of roles open, and you got to prove yourself down the stretch here. You can't just give half effort over the last couple of games, because that may mean that a draft pick or a younger guy is coming in to take your role next year.
Here's Cole Beaudoin. He's stopped there by Moore inside the blue line. Generals take it back the other way. Figlimani stopped by Wilmot. And that's going to be another offside call against Oshawa. As Figlimani, having a couple of good looks so far in this hockey game, comes in with 5 goals, 7 assists, 12 points, but he's made his presence known so far in this game.
One of the more veteran players for this Oshawa team, and guy that was on the roster last year, part of that deep run into the finals, and now getting a bit more ice time this season.
So we got this face-off outside the Colts blue line. Bosmus is kicked out, so in steps Franzen against Cole Beaudoin. Face-off won by the Generals. Nope, we're going to do this again.
The officials did practice this in warm-ups.
You commented on that.
I guess they didn't get it down pat yet.
Well, you know, practice makes perfect. You got the playoffs starting in a week.
Got to be ready.
You got to figure it out. Cole Beaudoin, he's going to skate through the neutral zone, dumps this one in. Lashon back to pick it up for the Generals. Moore back to play it. He's going to clear this one out. Eliasson kicks it ahead to Wilmot. Wilmot at center, dumps this one in. Colts are going to make a line change. Puck goes behind the Oshawa net. Moore sends it around. Hemming gives chase. Loose puck picked up by Beaudoin. Sends it around. Carter Lowe after it on the near side. Posthumus will send this one back to the corner. Moore flips this one down the ice. Hind was behind it, but couldn't pick that one up. Ends up deep in the Barrie zone. Both teams finish a line change here as Kayshawn Aitchison will skate it up. Aitchison reaches center, drops it, turnover right to Figliomeni. Figliomeni skates it in. His shot's Anthony Figliomeni. We were just talking about him and how he's been an impact player, and right now he's given Oshawa the 2-1 lead.
Well, big goal there for the Gens to keep rolling here. Off the turnover in the neutral zone, and then back the other way. Schneid trying to get back, and Figliomeni just with a quick shot near the top of the zone. Kind of caught Jaswell from surprise. Probably one the Colts netminder wants back, but Oshawa's got the lead.
Yeah, just a poor decision there by Kayshawn Aitchison in the neutral zone. Dropped it back, but gave it right to Figliomeni. And Oshawa has now scored back-to-back goals. So their first lead of the night. Colts are going to send this one deep. Humphrey sends it around at the point. Von Richter drops it back to Lowe, takes the shot, deflected wide. Schneid got a piece of it. Puck goes behind the net. Frolov to the line, not out. Low shot, stopped by Humphreys. As that one ends up in his blocker, and he's going to hold on. And we talked about this Generals team that this is they haven't given up. They're a team that's embracing the role of playing spoiler right now.
Yeah, obviously you want to be part of the reason some teams maybe don't get the seeding they were looking for. And obviously Oshawa Barrie, some history over the last couple of seasons. And for Oshawa, I mean, they beat Peterborough the other night. We were talking about Jack Moore before the game, how they kind of screw over North Bay and beat North Bay, but then they return the favor by beating Peterborough as well. So,
well, for the Barrie Colts, mathematically, they still have a shot of catching the Brantford Bulldogs, but Brantford, of course, won earlier today in Sault Ste. Marie. We'll look at the out-of-town scoreboard during the first intermission, but you know, for Oshawa, wanting to play spoiler, and right now up by 1 on the Barrie Colts. Salandra sends this one out to center ice, picked up here by Gardner. Gardner skates this one in, he'll peel back. Gardner over to Zabeski. Puck comes back to the blue line. Aitchison up to Gardner, up the middle. His shot blocked, rolls wide of the net. Franzen will play it. Von Richter at the point. Gave that one up to Posthumus, and now it's a 2-1 advantage for Oshawa. Hind skates it in, shot stopped by Jaswell. Puck goes to the corner. Aitchison trying to get a stick on it. Gardner will dig this one free. Gardner gets to the blue line. His pass nearly picked off by Frolov. Oshawa sending this one ahead. Hind on the wing, takes the shot. That's going to go wide of the net. Griffin on the far side takes a hit from Zabeski. Near side to Moore. Moore winds up, stopped by Jaswell. Looked like it got the top of his stick. Colts get this one out and down the ice, but that's now going to be an icing call with 6:44 remaining in the period, as Oshawa has suddenly taken over this hockey game.
The Gens have been all over the Colts as of late, and Dylan Smoskowitz probably not going to be too impressed with the way Barrie's playing right now. A couple sloppy turnovers. Von Richter gives one up there, and the Colts or the Generals go back the other way, 2-on-1, and luckily Jaswell was able to get a big save there, maybe calm things down here for Barrie.
Well, with the playoffs a week away, you don't want to start developing bad habits. And it's a game like this that can be a bit of a trap, as Lachon fires that one, stopped by Jaswell. Puck goes to the corner. Calto trying to keep it away from Aitchison. passes this one back to the point. Lachon gets a stick on it, keeps it in. Around the boards it goes. Puck comes to the near side. Calto picks it up here for Oshawa. He's tied up by Aitchison. Trying to dig it free there is Zabeski. Zabeski picks it up here for the Colts. Sends it back to Von Richter. Parker Von Richter. He'll go over to Aitchison as the Colts skated ahead. They're going to make a line change. Aitchison sends it down ice. Generals picking up their own blue line. Rogowski ahead. Calto leaves it there for Lachon. On net, stopped by Jaswal. Kayshawn Aitchison behind his net. Up to Justin Hanser. Beaudoin reaches center ice, picks up momentum. Up the middle, and that shot off a leg. And out of play with 5:52 left in the first period. Right now, 2-1 for the Oshawa Generals. Goals from Vlasic and Figliumeni.
Well, for Oshawa, obviously, going to be interesting to see the draft lottery coming up in a couple of weeks. And for the Generals, maybe a chance at potentially Cade O'Rourke. It's unknown whether he'll get exceptional status or not. It's unknown if he's even applied for it, but player out of Texas that's really strong for the Toronto Junior Canadians as a 14-year-old, and be a pretty good guy to add to your back end. Winning the draft lottery is easier said than done, considering the last 4 years, Niagara had the best odds 3 straight years. They didn't get a single first overall draft pick.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating how it all plays out, because it won't be until after the OHL Cup that we will find out whether or not if O'Rourke is granted exceptional status. And he'd be the first defenseman to receive that since Sean Day. But he wasn't picked by the Mississauga Steelheads until that 6th overall selection. So it's going to be interesting. Plus, remember, it's now the return of the in-person draft in Kingston. So a whole lot of different dynamics. And I'm sure we can break that down a little more during the intermission.
Well, there's pain chatter in the comments again. So
it's back.
Get to that too.
Teague Mader has it now for the Colts. Up to Hemming. Hemming's pass is deflected. That's going to go deep. Moore there to pick it up for the Generals. He'll send it down the ice. Figliumeni got a piece of it, so no icing. Justin Hanser back to pick it up here for the Colts. Chased out from behind the net. Hanser, he'll skate it ahead, reaches center ice, dumps this one in. Around the boards it goes. Humphreys behind his own net to play it. Generals get to the line, not out, kept in by Hemming. Second time gets out. Vader back to Hanser. Justin Hanser passes it up to Hemming. Hemming skates this one in for the Colts. Stopped along the board. Smeared off. He falls. Hemming back to the point. One-timer, Eliasson. But that goes over the net and out of play. As Gabriel Eliasson trying that one-timer, but a little too much traffic in front of the net.
Barrie's trying to get some pressure going. They only have one shot since that goal, and that was over 10 minutes ago. So the Generals have shut them down as of late, have gotten some things cooking here in the first period and playing good. What's that word Dylan Smoskowitz would use? They're playing with some jam? Did I use that right?
Yeah, I think you used that word right. They're playing with that jam.
They're playing with some jam.
Face off to the right of Humphreys. Scramble draw. The Generals get it. They're going to put it behind the net. Govro after it. Puck goes in the air. Edgar trying to dig this one out of the skates of the Generals player. That was Charlie Hilton. He'll skate it up. That goes right on net. Jaswal forced to make the save. Eliasson in the corner. He takes a hard hit. Charlie Hilton just ran over Gabriel Eliasson. That's something we don't see often. Puck's in the corner. Edgar couldn't get a stick on it. Roberts gets this one out. Emerton backtracking, goes to Eliasson. Eliasson up the wing, gave it to Roberts. Roberts takes a hit from Govro. Desiderio trying to send that one ahead, gets it into the Oshawa zone, and then Eliasson runs over Bird Leitner, and that's going to be a penalty. So Gabriel Eliasson's frustrations turn into a penalty here as Rogowski comes along the boards, back to Bird Leitner, backhand pass to Griffin. Griffin's going to come back to the point as Oshawa has the extra attacker. Rogowski takes the shot, stopped by Jaswal. And it's going to be an interference penalty here, but now we've got Bird Leitner and Luke Govro mixing it up on the far side. Those two will be quickly separated, but Gabriel Eliasson, we don't usually see him on the receiving end of a big hit. And he just took out his frustrations on Bird Leitner.
Well, Charlie Hilton only 2 inches shorter than Gabriel Eliasson, and obviously not used to probably being knocked down like that. Maybe a bit of frustration taking over there, and you can't let that happen, especially in a situation like this. You only got one shot in the last 10 minutes. You've allowed 2 straight goals. Now Oshawa power play with a chance to make it a 2-goal game.
So the Oshawa Generals are power play right now 16th in the OHL at 18.5%, while the Barrie Colts penalty kill right now 11th at 78.6%. So a chance for Oshawa to extend that lead. They win the faceoff. Postumus along the wing. He'll drop this back to Rogowski at the point. Brooks Rogowski up to Postumus. Postumus towards the nets, and that goes wide of the goal. Beaudoin picks it up here for the Colts behind his own net. Beaudoin back to Von Richter, and he's going to send it up the ice. Humphreys out of his net to play it as the power play now down to 1:38 for the Generals. Postumus will come up with it for Oshawa. He's got some room. Reaches center. Passes this one across. Calto trying to get a stick on it. Sends this one around the boards. Here's Brad Gardner. Back to Aitchison, and the Colts skid it out. Carter Lowe chasing after the loose puck as Humphreys comes out of the goal. They'll send that one over. Oshawa regrouping. Still 1:16 left in the penalty to Eliasson as Franzen passes it up. Postumus back to Griffin up the middle. Shot stopped by Jaswal. Side of the net. What a save by Irvin Jaswal as he spread across to make that right pad save and keeps it a 2-1 hockey game.
Good look there for Oshawa. Coming out back the other way, and Jaswal sprawling across makes a beautiful save there to keep the game at 3-1 or 2-1. Sorry, the Colts needing that one. And so I was watching there through the first 55 seconds of the power play. Luke Govero and the Oshawa bench were going at it the entire time.
Well, we were talking at the beginning of the period how it seemed like things were a little calm between these two teams, but that spark has been ignited here between these two teams who've met in the playoffs in back-to-back years. The Generals power play continues for another 53 seconds. Lucas Moore, the former Brantford Bulldog, reaches center ice, loses the handle of it. That was knocked in the air. Moore this time skates it in, drops it, taken by the Colts. They're going to get it out. That's going to go down the length of the ice. Humphreys comes out of his net to play it. Humphreys to Bird Leitner. 34 seconds still to go in the man advantage. Moore's going to skate it up for Oshawa. Reaches center ice. That pass misses the intended target. And now it's an icing call. So this is going to come back into the Oshawa zone.
Barrie doing a solid job on the penalty kill here. And obviously a big one, trying to keep it at a 1-goal game, especially this late in the first period. Big opportunity here off the icing, though, with Beaudoin, Hemming, and Aitchison out there.
26 seconds left in the penalty to Eliasson. Face off to the right of Humphreys. Beaudoin's going to take the draw against Bird Leitner. Face off one by the Colts and ends up going up to the neutral zone. Aitchison's going to dump it in. Delayed offside here against Barrie. So Oshawa will regroup. Moore skating this one up. Passes it to Bird Leitner at center. Up ahead. Hind on the far side. Dumps this one in. Around the boards it goes. Aitchison behind his own net. Puts it in front. Von Richter couldn't get a stick on it. Now he has it. Von Richter reaches center. Up to Beaudoin. Beaudoin enters the zone. Gets around one player. Backhand. Misses the net. What a chance there for the Colts co-captain. Puck's in the corner. Picked up by Moore. Moore's going to send this one around. Here's Sam Roberts as the power play has expired. So Oshawa 0 for 1 on the power play tonight. At center. Wang's going to fire that one in. Jaswal guides it to the corner. Smirnov sends it back behind the Barrie net. Beaudoin back behind his own net. Sends it forward. Vlasic trying to keep it away from Salandra. Another penalty call coming. And this is going against Joe Salandra. They're going to call this a slash. So the Oshawa Generals are going right back onto the power play.
Just as quick as that, Eliasson takes the penalty. Colts kill it off, but then right away on the next shift, Joe Salandra takes a penalty, and Colts not too big of fans of it, but Gens are getting the first 2 power plays of this game.
So right now, head coach Mario Pouliot giving some instructions here before the Generals take this face-off, which will come to the left of Arvin Jaswal. Just 1:23 remaining in the first period. So we'll see if Oshawa will be able to take advantage of this recent opportunity. Rogowski's going to take the face-off against Wilmot. Face-off, won by Oshawa. Postumus has it at the point. Goes to the corner, drops us back to the point, but that's deflected. Mason Zabeski's going to skate it out. Zabeski skates it in. He's got Wilmot with him, short-handed. Shot blocked by Rogowski. Zabeski going around the Oshawa net. Franzen gets a stick on it, drops it back behind the Oshawa goal. Rogowski up to Postumus. Griffin on the wing. He'll skate it up for Oshawa. Gets by Aitchison. Puck goes to the corner. Postumus loses it to Von Richter. Zabeski along the boards. Aitchison had his glove knocked away from him, and that's going to be a penalty now against Oshawa. So Keyshawn Aitchison's glove fell off, and Owen Griffin batted it away, and that's going to be an interference penalty.
Yeah, Aitchison doing a good job drawing that call. Him and Griffin got into it there in the corner, and then Aitchison lost his glove, and Griffin just tried to send it away, and obviously you can't do that. Not allowed to touch the other player's equipment like that. That'll negate the power play.
So 4-on-4 now for 1:27. So that'll take us to the end of the first period. So a lot of room out there for both teams. Faceoff will come to the right of Matthew Humphreys. Cole Baudouin getting some last-second instructions here before the draw. Osmus will take it for Oshawa. Faceoff won by the Colts. Emerton at the point. Goes to Aitchison. Sending this one around. Baudouin behind the net. Taken there by Lachamp. Lachamp sends it back to Franzen. Franzen with it. 38 seconds now left in the period. Passes this one back to Moore. Moore gets this one out. Franzen had that go off his leg. Emerton's going to come back after it. Franzen trying to get it round Emerton to the net. Poked away by Aitchison. Hemming loses it in his skates. Has it in the corner. Backhand pass across to Cole Emerton. Emerton will skate this one up the wing. After it is Baudouin, and he won't be able to beat the icing, so this is going to come back.
Still 15 seconds to go in this opening frame, and by far the Oshawa Generals looking like the better team. I mean, Barrie may be falling into that trap, and you're coming off a big win last night against a division rival in the Sudbury Wolves, 52 shots on net. Not much of the same tonight yet so far from the Barrie Colts.
Well, the Colts are still just sitting on 4 shots here in this first period. Outshot 13-4. So let's see what the Colts can do here. 15 seconds left. They win the faceoff. Back behind the net is Aitchison. Aitchison taken to the boards by Rogowski. Up to Hemming. Quickly to Baudouin. 6 seconds left on the clock. Cole Baudouin through the neutral zone. Skates this one in. 3 seconds. Baudouin trying to pass it in front, but he had more in the way. And that will do it for this first period. And now we get some extracurriculars as Moore took a shot at Keyshawn Aitchison in the back of the head. As these two teams being reacquainted, but now they'll all be separated. And that will do it for the end of the first period. But a great start for the Barrie Colts. It seemed as though things were going their way, and then suddenly Oshawa turned this game around, and they've been in full control. And it's been an interesting tale of events here at this game so far.
That's been a bit surprising. I mean, the Colts, they came out, looked decent, get that opening goal, but since then it's really been all Oshawa. Barrie got some pressure in the 2 minutes following that goal, and then 5 minutes after the Generals tie the game, and then Oshawa's controlled the play the rest of the way. A couple penalties on both sides, and bit of physicality there at the end, maybe similar to Sudbury last night. Took a while to heat up, but maybe now we're starting to see it.
Now, you also have to think, too, with the playoffs in a week from now, you don't want to overlook your opponent, because we've touched on it. The Oshawa Generals right now, they have nothing to play for except for jobs for next season. So if you're the Barrie Colts, you know, you've probably locked into that number 2 seed. So it is a trap game. You don't want to overlook your opponent, because this is where Oshawa then can take advantage of you overlooking your opponent and play that spoiler role.
Yeah, and obviously you want to go into the playoffs with some good momentum. I mean, you don't want to go in on a 3-game losing streak or anything like that. So obviously for the Barrie Colts, you want to put your best effort forward this week in the final 4 games. No matter who the opponent is, no matter what the situation is for you, at the end of the day, you still want to play good hockey.
So we're doing our final 3 regular season road broadcasts this week. We're here in Oshawa tonight, Kingston Wednesday, and then Peterborough on Thursday. So we thought we would take the opportunity to talk with the Overagers. There's 3 Overagers on the team. You've got Gardner Crombie and Mason Zabeski. So today we decided to chat with Zabeski, who was picked up at the OHL trade deadline from the Brampton Steelheads. a great pickup. Plays that Barrie Colts style that Dylan Smoskowitz keeps talking about. And every time he's on the ice, he's going to the net and kind of gets under the skin of opponents. And it's been kind of fun to watch from the broadcast vantage point, just seeing what he's able to do. And it's going to be fascinating to see how he goes forward from here once he graduates from the OHL.
Yeah, him and Joe Salandra have on those top two lines for the Barrie Colts. It kind of feels like they work perfectly where those two are out on the ice a lot of the game, and feels like at every whistle they're right in the goalie's crease, causing a scrum. And it's been a lot of fun watching Mason Sebeski these last couple of weeks. And for him, I mean, he's a guy, and he even admits this in his interviews, trying not to be that guy that's known for his goal scoring. He's known for other things, and he does a good job at those other things. And you talked about those future plans. Just a hint, a guy that he's already familiar with seems to be following him along still.
So here's Josh's conversation pregame with Barrie Colts forward Mason Sebeski.
Joined by Colts forward Mason Sebeski. Mason, you guys are coming off a big win last night against Sudbury. What was the first taste of the Barrie-Sudbury rivalry like for you?
Yeah, it was definitely different. I haven't really experienced that being in Brampton with them, and I think I didn't really know how important it was until actually playing in the game, and there's that many scrums, but I think it was really fun. It's kind of a shame we didn't get to experience more of it, but I really enjoyed it.
Now, the St. Patrick's Day jerseys last night, how'd you feel about wearing those?
Yeah, those were pretty sick. They kind of reminded me of like the Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish jerseys, and even the auction after. That's something I've never experienced before, and it was pretty cool to be a part of.
How much did your jersey go for?
I think it was $600. Made me feel good.
Do you remember who on the team got the highest auction going?
No, I think I left after the first half. I was in the room with the people who bought my jersey, but I'd imagine it'd be a guy like Cash maybe.
Now, for you coming into this game against the Oshawa Generals, obviously a lot of history for you and your teammates. What's the mindset going in here one last time?
Yeah, I think this is obviously a pretty special building to be playing in, and I think for both Brampton and Barrie, we both got kind of beat out in the playoffs by them, so it means a lot more than just playing in a building like this. I think there's a lot more emotions behind this game, and yeah, I'm excited to finish off here.
Now, we're talking to all the overagers this week. It's your overage season. What can you say about this year and, of course, the last couple of years in Brampton as well?
Yeah, I think this year's been tremendous for me. I think being able to experience a trade and kind of going to a contending team like this has been really eye-opening for me, and I've been able to learn a lot and kind of use both, tools and resources from both teams to help elevate my game. And then, obviously, over the last four and a half years, I've been able to learn a lot, grow as a person and a player, and I'm forever thankful for that.
Looking back on your first year, what were some of the things you learned there, and who were some of the guys that kind of helped you get into the OHL?
Yeah, I think for me, some things I learned were just kind of playing to my identity and having that consistency every night. I think realizing not everyone is going to be a 100-point player, and on a team you kind of need every kind of role and every kind of player. And so I think at an early point in my career, I kind of figured that out and found that in Brampton or Mississauga, I guess. And I think carrying that through the rest of my 4 years has been a huge help. And then as far as role models go, I think guys like James Hardy, Ethan Del Mastro, Luca Del Belbaluz, those guys were there and pretty prominent players in my first year. And they really helped shape me into the leader that I am today.
Now, what are your future plans beyond the OHL?
Me and Parker, we're both committed to New Hampshire, so that'll be fun going together. We're going to have a blast next year at school.
Seems like you guys kind of go everywhere together, don't you?
Yeah, can't separate us.
Welcome back to Oshawa, as it's the first intermission between the Barrie Colts and the Oshawa Generals. Josh is right now on a bit of a mission, and let me just get the spotlight going, see if that helps at all. But yes, Josh on a mission. So let's wait and see when he comes across the catwalk here at the Tributes Community Center with whatever he may find from the nearest concession stand. So stay tuned for that. Now let's take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We will get to the chat in a moment. I have noticed that the chat getting quite active during that first period. But before we get to that, let's take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard. These games are final right now. The Kingston Frontenacs have defeated the Brampton Steelheads by a final score of 4-1. With Kingston winning, they hold on to that 6th seed for now, while the Niagara Ice Dogs shut out 6-0 by the Ottawa 67. So the Kingston Frontenacs now 3 points ahead of Niagara for 6th. So if the playoffs started today, we would still have a Barrie-Niagara first-round matchup. Other scores, the Peterborough Petes needing overtime to defeat the North Bay Battalion by a score of 4-3. The Saginaw Spirit cruised to a 7-3 victory over Sarnia. The Brantford Bulldogs shut out the Sioux Greyhounds 3-0. So they're kind of cementing that first spot right now at the top of the Eastern Conference standings. This is a wild score down in Windsor. The Spitfires cruising to an 8-2 victory over the London Knights. And one late game, Kitchener versus Guelph. That's going to get underway at 7 o'clock. So interesting scores there. And I know for Barrie Colt fans in particular, wanting to know who are they going to face in the first round of the playoffs. And it's seeming more and more likely the Niagara Ice Dogs will be the opening round opponent.
Yeah, 3 more games to go for both teams. The Frontenacs currently lead over them by 3 points. They both have a game against the Barrie Colts left, but Niagara also has a game against Brantford. On top of that, a game against Erie. And then for the Kingston Frontenacs, it goes Barrie, Peterborough, Ottawa. So it could come down to whoever's able to sneak out an upset or two, and also what teams are resting players down the stretch here.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. Now, I think it was 2 games ago that Richard gave us $10 through one of the supers. And we want to thank all our listeners and those tuning in. We've had some great support since we started this broadcast. We had some supers along the way, which has helped us out with some of our travel costs, like the coffee budget, the gas budget, even with some hotel accommodations. So we want to thank all our listeners and subscribers. But 2 weeks ago, I was in Windsor. We were unable to go to the concession stand.
We couldn't go down there, and then in Brampton, there were so many kids that it just didn't work out.
We couldn't do that.
So Richard sent us money that we weren't able to use until now.
Yeah, so I sent Josh over. So it's a unique setup here at the Tributes Community Center. We actually have to walk over the ice, over the catwalk to get to the concession stand, and you are apparently not afraid of heights. I know there's some that don't want to come over here to the press box because of the catwalk, but what did you find when you were over there at the concession stand?
Well, first off, luckily I watched you put in the code to the door there.
I didn't even think of that.
No one told me the code. So, wasn't many options. It's a smaller, like a snack bar, but...
What do we got?
I saw some cotton candy.
Oh, sweet. You see what I did there?
Yeah.
So, okay, so cotton candy. So we got to try not to get our fingers sticky here with all the equipment. First of all, you got to figure out how do you actually open this container.
I'm not sure.
Is it child-proof?
It's Josh-proof.
It's Josh-proof. Do you need me to help you find the plastic bit that you're supposed to break off? I think that's it right there. You found it. Hey, you did it. And now we're going to have cotton candy on the broadcast. This might give us more energy. So there we go. So, Richard, we want to thank you, Richard. And Richard with the smiley face. We appreciate it. So, cotton candy at the Tributes Community Center in Oshawa. Apparently, it's a limited concession stand near our broadcast booth. Do you have your cotton candy?
I have my cotton candy.
It's like a little piece. There you go. This is going to help with our drive home, too. Why are you putting that everywhere?
I don't know.
Okay, let's try this out. The cotton candy at the Tributes Community Center. My verdict, it's cotton candy.
Yep, tastes like cotton candy.
That's a win.
Yep.
So I want to thank Richard for your contribution to the channel. Now I'm not sure how we're going to do this broadcast with cotton candy in our mouths. Are you choking?
No.
This is like the hiccups all over again in Erie.
It's happening again.
Not again.
I did a game this morning. I almost got hiccups because I forgot to bring water. It's like, oh no. But I survived. And speaking of that, the train horn. I did a game on. I did a game on Friday with the train horn.
Well, that was in Cambridge.
In Cambridge, Cambridge Junior Rivulets, they have a train horn of their own, and was right beside it again, and
not bad.
It's very loud, but used to it now. So
well, there we go. Well done. So what was your final ruling on the cotton candy?
I'll give it a 7. I mean, it's cotton candy. And
can't
cotton
go wrong with it.
It's good. You can't complain about good cotton candy.
So there we go. Thank you again, Richard, for your contribution to the broadcast. And now we've got some.
Gonna have a little more.
You're gonna choke again.
Well, I'll be okay.
Okay.
But as long as it doesn't affect my ribs.
Well, there we go. So, and you're making fun of my skiing injury. You know how hard it is to do this with sore ribs?
Well, it took you a second.
Anyways, back on track here. We got 3:23 left until the start of the second period. I noticed I was going through the chat, and I've noticed that we've had some comments in regards to the future of the Barrie Colts. And I know we've had this conversation before. Actually, I think it was here in Oshawa, because it was after the trade deadline, about pain in the future for the Barrie Colts. But when it comes to junior hockey, and I think this is probably the same thing that I said then, is that it's all about cycles. So you're going to have your go-for-it years. And
unless you're London.
Unless you're London. That's a whole other topic. But you're going to have your go-for-it years, and then the years where you're going to rebuild. And I think this game's a perfect example of that. You look at the Oshawa Generals in the last 2 seasons where they were buyers. They were able to use their younger talents and draft picks to trade away to bring in more, veteran players. Look at picking up Zachary Sandu 2 years ago. They also picked up Jacob Oster from Guelph the year before that. So you're putting your pieces together to finally have that go-for-it year. And for Oshawa, back-to-back years winning the Eastern Conference title. So Bobby Orr Trophy winners. And now that they've done that, now they're in that rebuild cycle. And that's why this year, not making the playoffs and potentially winning that first overall pick, which could then help them get back into that rebuild cycle. And for the Barrie Colts, they've now had 2 years where it's been go for it. Yep. So next year, obviously, the Colts are going to take that step back. It's just, do you now have those pieces when you're in that rebuild to stay competitive, or do you take a step back, kind of like what we're seeing with Oshawa this season?
Yeah, I mean, for the Generals, like you mentioned, 2 really good runs. And then this season, us didn't go the way they want. And they kind of got hit hard this year as well, because Beckett Seneca, Luca Morelli, they expected to at least have them back for a bit of the season, then trade them and recoup those assets. They never got them back. So then they decide, okay, well, we might as well just get rid of Danford now, get the most we possibly can for him. And so in the end, they were without Danford, Seneca, Morelli, and Sandu by the end of October. And then from there wasn't much of a chance for them this season. And obviously they're going to build up. They're going to draft. They've got some pieces in play. There's a guy on the top line tonight, Tyler Hindy. His 3rd-round pick last year has came up. He's done a solid job. And that's a guy to look for the future. And for the Barrie Colts, they already do have some of those player pieces in the puzzle ready for next season. Joe Salandra is a guy that can be back. Eamon Egger's going to take that next step forward. Alexander Sementsov. It's going to be a year where they just say, go get him. We're not worrying about the OJHL this year. Just go out there and prove yourself. So obviously, a couple of young guys in net as well. Arvin Jaswal, Hagen Bach. Hagen Bach's a guy he's going to be hoping to take that next step forward. You look on the back end, you got Cole Emerton. You got some other guys, Teague Vader, Ethan Armstrong. They've done a solid job on coming into the lineup, but they're back in that 7 or 8 spot. Are the Colts going to go out and win the Eastern Conference next season? Probably not, because it's a year of recouping assets and trading some other guys. And at the end of the day, it's more about focusing on developing this new core. They have some other guys that are currently in other places that are focused for next year. Some big defensemen coming for Barrie as well.
Yeah, so it's just the junior hockey cycle. And for this year, Barrie Colt fans enjoying this run where they have a shot at going on a deep playoff run. And then when next year rolls around, that's when it's going to be okay, how are we going to rebuild and get this team back to contention in probably a few years' time. But right now, Colt fans enjoying this run, and it has been an exciting season with the way this thing has played out so far. But play back underway for the second period. Colts down by 1. It's a 4-on-4 situation for another 20 seconds. Ben Wilmot ahead for Schneid. Schneid on the wing takes the shot, stopped by Humphreys. Rebound, Wilmot stop, rebound again. Schneid puts it wide of the net. After the loose puck is Emerton trying to keep it in. Here's Schneid, sends it down low to Ben Wilmot. Wilmot from the corner, passes it in front. Schneid was tied up, couldn't get a stick on it. And the Generals will get it out. And now the Barrie Colts are on their first power play of the hockey game, presented by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. The Barrie Colts power play right now, third best in the OHL at 26.5%, while Oshawa, their PK, 14th at 76.7%. Hemming's going to skate this one in. Here's Salandra on the wing. Salandra across to Gardner. He can't take the shot. Comes back to the point for Aitchison. Near side, Salandra. Joe Salandra looks to the net. Back to Aitchison. Aitchison across. One-timer. Not getting all that was Hemming. Puck goes behind the Oshawa net. The power play has expired. But now we're going to get another whistle here. It's going to be a trip. And this is going against the Oshawa Generals. So the Colts about to get their first full power play of the night.
Now, Vlasic going to the box. It was him and Baudouin battling behind the net.
Sorry.
Baudouin gets taken down from behind and tripping call against Vlasic. Colts had a solid first minute here to that period, and we're going to keep it rolling with a couple more chances on this power play.
This Barrie Colts power play brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. As the Generals quickly get this one down the ice, Jaswal at the side of the net leaves it for Aitchison. Kayshawn Aitchison sets up behind the net. He's going to move this one forward. Aitchison up to Salandra. Salandra in the neutral zone drops it back to Cole Baudouin. Baudouin trying to go to Hemming. That pass doesn't connect. Hemming's going to skate it back. Hemming up to Baudouin. Cole Baudouin skates it up. Here's Salandra on the wing. Back up to Baudouin. Side of the goal. He'll send it around the net. Baudouin breaks his stick in the process. Aitchison's going to put it back over to Salandra on the near side. Joe Salandra skates this one ahead. From the corner, Salandra looks back to the point. Aitchison holds on to it. Goes to Salandra. Salandra over to Hemming. One-timer scores! Email Hemming after a beautiful setup by Joe Salandra, and it's now tied at 2.
Well, Joe Salandra does it again. Found some space, sends it across, and kind of similar to last night. I think he was looking more at Hemming tonight than he was looking at Brad Gardner yesterday on the power play, but great work by Salandra again. Just another beautiful pass to tie the game at 2. And talking to him after the game about, not a lot of rust on him. He was ready to get back going and got that chemistry back going with Brad Gardner that he's had all year. The word he used for it was chemi.
The good chemi.
Good chemi.
Well, that good chemi seems to be paying off with a great setup to Emil Hemming, who now has 25 goals on the season, and the Barrie Colts are back in this hockey game. Generals get it to the line and out. Smirnov's going to skate this one forward. Smirnov on the wing, hits the brakes. Trying to keep this one away, sends it around the net. Figlimani behind the net for Oshawa. He'll come out from the corner. Figlimani, already a goal tonight, puts this one to the corner. Smirnov, he's run into there by Von Richter. Carter Lowe will take it and skates it out to center ice. Lowe reaches center, trying to dump it in. That was blocked. Second attempt goes behind the Oshawa net. Newton trying to get to that loose puck, taken there by Oshawa. Charlie Hilton skates it out for the Generals, reaches center, avoids the hit from Zabeski. Hilton enters the zone, takes the shot, and Jaswal able to make the save.
For Barrie, trying to keep up that pressure here. It's been a strong start. You get the goal, tie the game, and now trying to keep that momentum going. Oshawa looking for a pushback here, trying to get out in front.
Well, the Colts' power play has been humming along these last 2 games. Last night against the Sudbury Wolves, they were 3 for 4 on the man advantage. As a specialty teams continues to improve at the right time heading into this postseason stretch.
3 for 3 to start the game. It was their last power play that didn't convert, and penalty kill was solid as well. I thought they had some good looks. Bodo and Aitchison and Hemming got out there together a couple times shorthanded, and they snuck back the other way a couple times against Sudbury last night.
Face-off won by the Colts. They send it around. Salandra chips this one out to center. Generals will dump it in. Emerton back to pick it up here for Barrie. Up to Salandra. Joe Salandra. Up the wing to Zabeski. He'll dump it in. Around the boards it goes. Frolov on the far side. takes a bump. Colts keep it in play. Here's Teague Vader up the middle, takes the shot, misses the net. Teague Vader looking for his first career OHL goal, came up close there. Sabenski along the boards, gives it to Salandra. Joe Salandra to the corner, trying to send it around, tied up there by Frolov. Gardner puts it out front, but it's taken by Sam Roberts. Roberts will skate it out for Oshawa. Roberts on the wing, still with it, sends it around behind the Barrie net after it is Sang. Sang loses it. Gardner got a skate on it. Griffin tied up by Zabeski. Gardner takes the hit. Loose puck picked up by Griffin. Owen Griffin, the leading scorer on the Oshawa Generals, comes around back to the point. LaShawn, his shot stopped by Jaswal. And Arvind Jaswal, the Pickering native, is going to hold on to it.
Well, a little bit of history going on for head coach Dylan Smoskowitz with that win last night. He ties the record for most wins by a first-year head coach in the OHL since 2000 at 44. But what we didn't realize yet is that is actually the record for a first-year Barrie Colts head coach all time. 44 wins. He passes Bill Stewart, who had 43 in his first and only season.
And it's going to be interesting to talk to Dylan Smoskowitz if and when he breaks that record, because he's not the kind of guy that wants to talk about himself. But it is quite remarkable what he's been able to do as a first-year head coach. And I'm sure he will be one of those coaches mentioned as possible coach of the year. Colts moving up. Here's Emil Hemming on the wing. Hemming drops it back to Beaudoin. Beaudoin puts to the corner. Picked up here by Hanser. Hemming has it in his skates. Trying to send it back. Beaudoin back to Hanser. Winds up. His shot blocked in front by Calto. Aitchison gets it in the corner. His pass off a skate. Calto catches up to it. He'll send it forward. Owen Griffin, 2-on-1 developing here for Oshawa. Griffin on the wing to the net. Backhand. Stopped by Jaswal. Colts with it. Hanser's going to put it back behind the net. Kayshawn Aitchison after it here for the Colts. Up the wing to Wilmot. Wilmot loses it. Generals trying to carry it in. Delayed offside, so Rogowski will follow it up. Hanser took it away. Beaudoin from his own blue line, trying to set up Wilmot on the breakaway. That pass doesn't connect. Wilmot tied up. Awesomeness comes up with a loose puck. Long pass behind the defense was Franzen. Puck gone away from him. Franzen going around the net. Vader knocked that one away. Colts with possession. Emerton's going to skate it up. Here's Luke Govro. Govro flips this one deep into the Oshawa zone. DiClacido had it there for a moment. And gets it out to center, but Emerton's going to put it right back into the Oshawa zone. Franzen across to DiPlacido. He'll dump this one in. Back after it now is Emerton. Emerton knocked down by Hein, but we're going to get a penalty out of this. We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be a hold. And it looks like it's going against the Oshawa Generals. I wasn't sure because Colts touched the puck.
Well, then they were both kind of going the same way at the same time.
I was wondering if they were both going to get a penalty because they were kind of holding on to one another.
Well, they're battling each other, but then Emerton was the one that went down. Dylan Smoskowitz switching things up there with the defensive pairings. Emerton out there with Teague Vader, and then at the Colts bench, Eliasson was lined up alongside Parker Von Richter to head out after them if they had stayed 5-on-5.
So the Barrie Colts back on the power play, brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. Face-off won by the Colts. Hemming scored on the power play the last time out. Beaudoin loses it, and the Generals skated up 2-on-1 short-handed. Here's Franzen. He's got Rogowski with him. Franzen fires that one wide of the net. Colts get it out to the neutral zone. Now it's a 2-on-1. Gardner to Beaudoin. Gardner, shot, scores! Brad Gardner! It's another power play goal, and Gardner has now reached the 30-goal mark.
What a shot from Brad Gardner. Nice pass to the middle, and Jen's probably thinking Beaudoin's going to go across to Emil Hemming, and instead he goes back to Gardner, who finds the back of the net, but for Oshawa there, for Harrison Franzen, trying to get a shot off short-handed on the 2-on-1. The last thing you can do there is miss the net, and he does that, and the puck rolls back the other way. Well, there's only 2 Generals back and 4 Colts heading up the other way, and it's not good. And Franzen showing his frustration on the bench, slamming his stick a couple times as he was heading back.
So Brad Gardner, the overage forward, continues to have an amazing season for the Barrie Colts. 30 goals. And we were talking before the broadcast how Gardner's number line isn't balanced like it's been for most of the year. He came in 29 goals, 31 assists. But Gardner now getting closer to having a balanced score sheet again.
Yeah, he's almost got it back there.
Puck's in the neutral zone. Newton's going to put this back to Von Richter. Gabriel Eliasson up ahead finds Jaden Newton. Newton over to Lowe. That's poked away. Figlimani up to Smirnov. Smirnov's going to skate it up for Oshawa. Hits the brakes. Smirnov back to Frolov. Frolov to the middle. Takes the shot. That's going to go wide of the net. Oshawa picking it up. That's Figlimani. He'll drop this one back to Wang along the boards. He's tied up by Jaden Newton. Rugby scrum continues. Von Richter knocks it free. He'll put it over to Carter Lowe. Lowe reaches center. He's going to flip it ahead. Hilton gets a glove on it. Puck goes deep into the general zone. Puck sent around. Ends up at the Barrie blue line. Figlimani will just continue it. Jaswal out of his net to play it. Leaves it for Justin Hanser. Hanser. He'll skate this one forward for the Colts. Up to Edgar. Edgar keeps this one in. No, they're going to say it's offside against the Barrie Colts.
Well, only 8 shots right now for the Colts, but 3 goals. They've been able to beat Humphreys a couple times. Another assist there for Joe Salandra. He's got 2 already this period. And his last 2 games, Salandra nearly missed a month, close to a month. Came back the last 2 days, and no worse for he might honestly look better than he did when he left.
Well, we were wondering when he would come back. We heard it was illness, but then there was other reports of lower body injury. But right now, Salandra back in the lineup and looks like he hasn't missed a step. And he's a player that the Colts are going to look to for even the future. And I know we had that conversation coming out of the first intermission of how important he's going to be from this experience this year and what he's going to mean to this team going into the next season.
Well, it's kind of similar to, you look on the Oshawa side the last couple of years, that a guy like Owen Griffin this year, I mean, he's been kind of that secondary guy the last couple of years behind those Senecas, those Barlows, all those guys. But this year, he's the guy, he's the leader, and he's got to lead that Oshawa Generals team. And Salandra's going to be one of those guys next year that the Barrie Colts are leaning on as a leader.
Face-off won by Oshawa. We're down to 12:40 remaining in the second period. Colts have scored 2 unanswered here in this second frame, both coming on the power play. Hemming and Gardner are your goal scorers. Bird Leitner's shot, that goes wide of the net. Desiderio trying to get a stick on it. Roberts along the boards. He's tied up. Desiderio trying to kick it ahead. Loose puck picked up by Edgar. Edgar gets the line, not out, kept in by the Generals. That's deflected. Emerton will come back to pick it up. Cole Emerton flips this one up and down the ice. Back to play it here for Oshawa is DiPlacido. Vlasic back to DiPlacido. Near side, Bird Leitner. That goes off his heel into the corner in the Oshawa zone. Porter Bird Leitner back behind his own net. Colts right now are making a line change. Here's Vlasic. Vlasic's now going to skate it back. Long pass up the wing. Roberts not able to get a stick on it, so that's going to be an icing call against the Generals. This means they can't make a line change.
Well, even when not here, Gene Pereira's making big contributions to the broadcast with a couple of extra stats. First off, we're in trouble because we didn't read his story. The Colts are going for a franchise record power play percentage potentially down this stretch run here. And the record for a rookie coach in wins, Tom Barrett, 1983-84 with Kitchener at 52.
So that record not within reach.
No.
But since 2000, it's not a bad stat there for Dylan Smoskowitz. And just a reminder, everyone needs to read Gene's articles. Just a shout out there.
He says we're doing a good job and keep bugging Mike about his skiing.
About my skiing? It's bad enough my kids are giving me a hard time about it. Hanser fires that one over the net. That's going to into the neutral zone. Aitchison up to Salandra. Joe Salandra to Brad Gardner on the wing. He'll send this one deep. Zabeski back to play it. Puts it in front. Salandra couldn't get a stick on it. Gardner throwing his weight around, trying to take out Vlasic, but here comes Franzen the other way for the Generals, but he's tied up by Aitchison. Puck goes to the corner. Play continues. Loose puck, Zabeski. Back to Hanser. Hanser, though, he was cut off. Puck comes in front. Franzen fires. Rebound. What a save by Jaswal. Stretches out that right leg and robs Tyler Hind.
Hind had him down out front. Franzen spins and shoots it. Jaswell makes the initial save and then is able to extend that pad just a bit further. Hind elevates that one. It probably goes into the net, but just tries to push it. Colts will remain out in front.
So we have 11:08 remaining now in the second period. Shots 18-8 in favor of Oshawa. Faceoff will come to the right of Arvin Jaswal. Beaudoin's going to take the faceoff against Postumus. So some last second instructions before they drop it. Faceoff won by the Colts. Eliasson sends this one forward. Hanser up to Hemming. That went off his mitt. Moore in his own zone. Puts it across to an open wing. Puck's just bouncing through center. Colts regroup. Hemming up to Wilmot. Wilmot to Beaudoin to the net. Shot just wide. What a pass by Ben Wilmot. But Beaudoin couldn't get that finish as the Generals get it out. Eliasson dumps it in. Humphrey slows it down. Back to play it is Lachaume. Back to Moore behind his own net. Puck comes around. Von Richter trying to quickly chip it back, but it's taken away by Tyler Hind. Another 2-on-1 here for Oshawa. Hind puts it across. That pass is picked off by Eliasson. Here's Emil Hemming through center. Hemming weaving in. Fans on the pass attempt. Lachaume's going to send it forward to Franzen. Franzen on the wing. Hits the brakes. Passes it across, but in the way was Hemming. Hanser being pressured there by Hind. Puck sent ahead. That's center ice. Emil Hemming is just going to flip it into the Oshawa zone. Hilton will chase after it in the far corner. Charlie Hilton comes out from behind the net. He'll pass this one over into the skates of Owen Griffin. Griffin towards the net. Rogowski couldn't get a stick on it. Puck's in the corner. Aitchison couldn't get a stick on that one, but the Colts able to get it out down the ice. Back to play it is Frolov. He'll send it forward. Loose puck in the neutral zone. Hilton gets it at his own blue line. He'll put it over to Frolov. We're past the midway point of the hockey game. 3-2 for the Barrie Colts. Griffin through center. Griffin passes it across. Knocked away there by Aitchison. Colts take it back the other way. It's Jaden Newton. Newton enters the zone here for the Colts. Backhand pass to the net. Picked up by Frolov. And he'll get it out. Aitchison, that's center ice. He's going to dump this one in. Humphreys stops it behind the net and plays it to Hilton. Hilton back behind his own goal for Frolov. Frolov gets this one out to center. That gets by Emerton. It's going to roll down the length of the ice. No icing. Justin Hanser goes to Emerton. Emerton puts this one across. Gardner collects it. He'll dump it in. Hilton knocks this one down. He'll get this one out to center ice. Emerton dumps it in. Picked up again by Hilton deep in his own zone. He'll go to Wang. Matthew Wang, the former Flint Firebird. Wang with the backhand hits the side of the net. Salandra will get it to the line. Not out. Kept in by Vlasic. Vlasic passes it into the slot. Here's Figlimani. Doesn't take the shot. Now he will, and it's blocked by Zabeski. Smirnov couldn't get that one out. Puck's bouncing. Puts to the middle. Picked off by Vader. Teague Vader from the corner. Puts it off the boards. Colts get it out. At center. Here's Salandra, and he skates into Lucas Moore. Both of them stay on their skates. Zabeski, though, gets to a turnover. Puck, though, into the line, and the Generals get it out. Vader back to pick it up here for Barrie. Both teams are making a line change with 8 minutes remaining in this second period. Puck goes deep in the Oshawa zone. There's Lucas Moore. Moore put it in the skates of the official. Puck goes to an open side. Govro reaching for it. Puck bouncing. That goes off a leg. Moore comes up with it now for Oshawa. Backhand pass. Bird Leitner chips this one forward. Edgar gets to it first for the Colts. In front of his own net is Eliasson. Up to Von Richter. Parker Von Richter. His pass is deflected. Frolov from his own blue line. He's going to backtrack. As play goes back and forth here, but not a lot of shots in these last couple of minutes. Roberts. Up ahead to Sang. His pass picked off by Desiderio. Nicholas Desiderio will now skate it up for the Barrie Colts. Backhand. That goes deep. Back behind the Oshawa net. Edgar trying to tie up Moore. Generals with possession. They'll move this one forward. Frolov flips it up. Sang trying to get underneath it. Von Richter takes it here for the Barrie Colts. Along the boards. That's picked up by Postumus. Postumus shot goes over the net. Franzen for Oshawa. Puts it behind the net for Sang. Postumus comes out from the corner. Frolov at the point. Passes this one over. Sang puts it behind the net. Collected by Franzen. He'll send it back to the blue line. Frolov again for the Generals. Backhand to the far corner. Franzen after it. Govro reaching for it. Oshawa just moving the puck around in the Barrie zone, but not a lot of shots. Frolov behind the net. Eliasson skates into his man. That was Hind. And the Colts get it to the line and out. Frolov settles it down at the center line, trying to send it back into the Barrie zone. It goes off the linesman. Von Richter to Desiderio. Nicholas Desiderio is going to dump this one in so the Barrie Colts can make a line change. DiPlacido comes out from behind the net. Passing this one over to Frolov. Artem Frolov. That's deflected into the air, and that's going to go over the glass and out of play with 6:11 remaining here in the second.
Barrie again, similar to last period. Hit a goal and then kind of stalled out through the latter half of this period. I mean, they're still on 8 shots. Again, they got 4 shots in the first pretty early, and then they didn't get one the rest of the period. Now they've added 4 more here and just haven't really done anything since that last goal.
Well, Oshawa has kind of controlled the flow of the game, but neither side right now getting a lot of shots. If we are seeing shots, they're going wide of the net for the most part. Aitchison along the boards, gives this one to Hemming. Hemming down low for the Colts around the Oshawa net. Takes it to the near corner, passes it, ends up behind the net. Wilmot in the far corner, trying to go in front, hits the side of the goal. Right now, Humphreys doesn't have his stick. Oshawa trying to get it out, goes off the official. Here's Cole Baudouin. He'll enter the zone. Gets by Lachamp. Baudouin sends us around the net. Humphreys reaching for his stick. Here's Baudouin behind the net. Back to Hanser. Fires. Stopped by Humphreys. He didn't even have his stick properly in his hand, but he's still able to make the save.
Yeah, I don't think the stick played much of a factor on that one. He was trying to get it situated. Colts quickly get it out to the middle for Hanser and just kind of sprawled across and got enough of it. Not sure he even fully had it, but was able to hold on long enough to get the whistle and get us to the TV timeout.
Yeah, so for Humphreys, just scrambling in his blue paint and keeping his team within 1. It's a 3-2 score. It was 2-1 for the Oshawa Generals coming out of the first period, but a pair of power play goals from Hemming and Gardner are the difference here in this frame. But outside of that, this game's been moving along pretty quickly. 5:36 left to go.
Yeah, shots are only 18-9, and a lot of play in the middle of the ice, the neutral zone. Not a lot of sustained offensive pressure from either team throughout this game. Kind of just back and forth with not too many huge opportunities on either side.
Well, one thing has been consistent is the fans' reactions here at the Tributes Community Center for Kayshawn Aitchison.
Although you can tell it's near the end of a tough season because the Blues have kind of been hit and miss tonight.
Well, that all started 2 years ago in that first playoff series between Oshawa and Barrie. It was after the Colts shocked the Generals with that Game 1 victory, and Kayshawn Aitchison quickly became public enemy number 1, and it's been that way ever since. As Aitchison throws his weight around on Calto, Calto gets up, passes it up to Griffin. Griffin sends this one deep into the Barrie zone. Hands are back to play. Calto with the hit. Griffin sends this one around. We got a penalty call coming against the Colts. At the point, far side, shot wide of the net. Carter Lowe's going to touch it, so we're going to get the call. And it's going to be a cross-check. And the fans here in Oshawa are going to love this. It's Kayshawn Aitchison heading off.
Yeah, Aitchison taking Calto down from behind the net there, and just a bit too much force into that check. And like they've showed that family on the screen like 5 times, and the kids every time just like hide away.
Do you think the camera operator knows the family?
Maybe
That's got to be it.
or maybe it's because the first time they like hit away like right away, and maybe he's caught on. And
They're just going for the reaction now.
we haven't seen that baby that we saw in the elevator a couple months ago.
Yeah, that was a young family there. But right now it is a Oshawa Generals power play. They're already 0 for 2 tonight. They're forced back in their own zone. Griffin's going to come from behind the net. Owen Griffin, he's got some speed, reaches center, goes to Calto on the near side, drops it back. That's picked off, and the Barrie Colts are just going to send it down the ice. That rolls on net. Humphreys gives this one to Postumus. Luke Posthumus, the overage forward here for the Oshawa Generals. He'll send that one deep. Calto after it. Tied up by Von Richter. Eliasson to Gardner. Carter Lowe back to Gardner. Colts take their time, and now we'll clear it down the ice. Penalty to Aitchison, now down to a minute 12. Oshawa with it. Posthumus reaches center ice, passes it over to Franzen. That pass does not connect. Emerton's going to come back to play it. Back behind the net. Bit of a collision. Hein at the point. Comes off of the blue line, passes it back. Rogowski's shot blocked side of the net. It's loose. They jam at it. Harrison Franzen finds the loose biscuit, buries it, and the Oshawa Generals have tied this game at 3.
Our Generals have 4 guys charging the net there. The shot from the point from Rogowski was knocked down, came loose. Jaswell had to sprawl across, trying to stop it. The puck remained loose, and then came free to Harrison Franzen, able to tap that one home. The power plays going wild here in the second period. 2 power play goals for the Colts, 1 for Oshawa. Tied at 3.
So for Harrison Franzen, that's now 23 goals on the season. And this Oshawa Generals team not going away anytime soon. They capitalize on the man advantage. They're now 1 for 3. And right back into this hockey game. Jaswell has it on net. He's going to play it. Gives it up to Teague Vader. Vader gets this one out to center ice. Picked up here by Hilton. Bouncing around. Hilton. He'll dump this one in. Back behind the net is Eliasson. He'll play this one to Vader. Up the wing to William Schneid. Schneid's pass intended for Lowe. That got by him. Vlasic back to play it. Around the boards it goes. Hilton gets this one to go out to center ice. Falls in front of Jaden Newton. Newton turns it around. Avoids the hit there from Wang. Up to Schneid. Schneid enters the zone surrounded by green sweaters. Schneid along the far side. He'll send this one to the corner. Smirnoff puts it back behind the net. Charlie Hilton comes up with it again for Oshawa. He'll send this one up the ice. That doesn't connect. And that's going to be an icing call against the Oshawa Generals. But Oshawa coming back to tie it and right now out shooting Barrie 18-10. This Generals team, they continue to dig for it.
Yeah, they're doing a good job. You know, they're 5-5 in their last 10. So still competing down to the final game. Obviously, you know, these players don't care about the first overall pick. They just want to make sure they're on the team next year. They could care less who's coming in behind them. They need to make sure they have a role for next season. So obviously, people talk about a team's tank. Players don't.
Now, that's just it. This is a competitive Oshawa Generals team, even though they're not going to the playoffs this year. They've got the foundations in place to be competitive as early as next season. Maybe not top team in the Eastern Conference, but they will make things interesting with their compete level, led by Mario Pouliot, the head coach. Cole Baudouin dropping it back to Wilmot. His shot stopped by Humphreys. Puck goes behind the net. Moore's going to send it around. Here's Hemming at the point. His shot off a stick, ends up in the corner. Wilmot back to Aitchison. Aitchison to Hemming. One-timer. That goes wide of the net. That puck's going to go back into the Barrie zone. Hanser's going to skate after it. Both teams will make changes. Justin Hanser sends it up the wing. Deflected into the Oshawa zone. Moore comes up with it. Wilmot leans into him. Hemming trying to force it forward. Wilmot comes up with it, loses it, poked away. Generals get it to the line, and that's going to escape the zone. Wilmot will touch it, but that's going to be offside. And they'll bring this face-off out with 2:01 remaining in the second.
Oh, if it was onside, that would have been a great play by Ben Wilmot. He just casually backhanded across to Gardner. But yeah, that one definitely came out. Wilmot didn't realize. Don't think Gardner did either. Hemming just tried to send it in. Wilmot saw the puck, went to grab it. It's offside.
Face-off outside the Oshawa blue line. Rakowski's going to take the draw here against Mason Zabeski. One there by the Generals. Puck goes deep in their own zone. Lafchon will send that one around. Von Richter couldn't keep that one at the point. Eliasson will pick it up here for the Colts. Up to Gardner. Chips this one ahead. After it's Mason Zabeski in the corner. Zabeski takes the hit. Rogowski can't hold on to it. Zabeski trying to force his way through. Now it's moved out by Oshawa. Here's Owen Griffin. Rogowski chasing after it. He's bumped off the puck by Eliasson. Brad Gardner comes up with it here for the Colts. Puck rolled on him. He's going to peel back. Gardner again, up to Von Richter. We'll send it back to Eliasson. Eliasson, up to Zabeski on the wing. That's going to go around the boards. Frolov back after it for Oshawa. He'll take a bump there from Salandra. Gardner trying to dig it free. Blasek behind his own net. He'll pass this one up. At the blue line, Von Richter. Backhand pass over to Schneid. Into the slot, Zabeski. Trying to go across, but Humphreys makes the save. He was spinning around in his blue paint. As again, Gardner and Schneid trying to connect.
A nice play there by the Colts. Gardner working around William Schneid. He's been playing good as of late. He's gotten a couple goals over the last few games. It's rolled to get another one there. Good look, but Humphreys able to make that save. Third line coming out for Barrie. Schneid, Carter Lowe. They've both been adding to their point totals a decent amount here in the month of March.
So we got 1 minute remaining now in the second period. Colts win the faceoff. Aitchison forced behind the net. Carter Lowe in front. Newton couldn't get a stick on it. Puck comes back to the point. Hines going to skate it ahead for Oshawa. He stood up by Hanser. Aitchison, long pass up to center ice. Franzen loses it in his skates. Carter Lowe putting on the pressure. Lowe will send this one back to Aitchison. Here's Justin Hanser. Hanser sends this one ahead. That's going to go down the length of the ice. Well, they're going to wave off the icing. Colts get to it. Hanser along the boards, picked up by Moore behind his own net to Lachamp. Lachamp. He's bumped there by Lowe. Fans want a penalty. None coming. Generals get it out. At center ice. Postumus back to Franzen. Franzen loses it to Justin Hanser, and then that's knocked to the corner. Postumus will come up with it for the Generals. His shot wide of the net. That's going to sail out to the neutral zone. 8 seconds remaining here in the second period. LaShawn on the near side in his own zone. He'll feather that one ahead. Hanser picks it up. He'll just put it behind the net casually. And that will do it for the second period of play. These two teams go back and forth. And that second period, it was all about the power plays.
Yeah, some good power play work by both the Colts and the Generals. It was Barrie getting 2 chances early in the period. Emil Hemming, Brad Gardner able to get goals, but then the Gents come right back. Really nice play by Oshawa, just getting that to the net, and everyone converges on the net. 4 guys there out in front. And eventually the puck does get knocked loose to Harrison Franzen, who's able to find the back of the net.
And we were talking about this in the pregame, how this Generals team, yes, they're at the bottom of the Eastern Conference standings, but they have us compete. Like they're fighting for positions for next season. And I think if you're Mario Pouliot and the coaching staff of this Oshawa Generals team, you have to be happy with the effort that you're getting every night. It's an honest effort, and there are no pushovers. This is a team that has come together, and I think there's a lot of potential with this group.
Yeah, I mean, they're like we've talked about a lot. There's jobs on the line. These guys still need to prove that they can be part of the Oshawa Generals moving forward and be a good piece for them next season. And as well, sometimes when you get eliminated from the playoffs, it just allows you to play more free. There's not much on the line. You can just go out there, play your game, have some fun. And the Generals, they've done a good job tonight and playing one of the best teams in the OHL. They've got this game tied at 3, and they're out shooting the Colts by 8, holding them to 7 shots in the second and 4 shots in the first.
But now if you're the Barrie Colts, you're looking at this game where it's quite the difference in the standings between where the Barrie Colts are in the East and the Oshawa Generals. And, is this where a situation that maybe they kind of overlook their opponent a little bit here, or are they just looking, ahead? It's like, okay, this is the last week of the regular season. We've got the playoffs coming up. But when you start thinking like that, that's where some bad habits can start to creep in.
Well, we've seen a couple turnovers tonight from Barrie, and obviously you want to keep that out of your game. But like you mentioned, I mean, they clinched the division a while ago. They clinched a playoff spot pretty long while ago. It could just be getting to a point where some of these guys are just like, you know what, I want the playoffs to start. And you see this in all the leagues. I mean, last couple of weeks of the year, it's last couple of days of the year, you're kind of just grinding it out, getting through those last couple of games, just trying to get into the playoffs, get in there healthy, and then it's go time once again.
So we'll see what happens in the third period between the Colts and the Generals. So it is tied at 3, shots favoring the Oshawa Generals, 19-11 after 2 periods of play. So we're going to take a break, and we'll check in with the OHL news with Terry Doyle.
I'm Terry Doyle. Thanks for joining us on this week's edition of OHL News. Coming up on the show, we'll check in with the Saginaw Spirit, who have been a very exciting team to watch this season. That in a moment, but first, this week's Cogeco OHL Player of the Week is Sam O'Reilly of the Kitchener Rangers. He picked up 3 goals and 5 assists for 8 points in 3 games, including a 5-point performance in a 6-3 win by the Rangers against the Sarnia Sting. The 19-year-old, who hails from Toronto, originally a first-round pick of the Edmonton Oilers in 2024, but now a prospect of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Meantime, NHL scouts have been watching the Saginaw Spirit this season. Nikita Klepov, eligible for the NHL draft, leading the way across the OHL in scoring, and they've certainly been a very exciting team to watch all throughout the year, and that's where we start the conversation with the voice of the Saginaw Spirit, Dylan Clark.
There was a lot of excitement when the import draft was going on, and when we got Nikita Klepov and Stepan Shurigan, and when we signed Igor Barabanov as a free agent. There was the excitement there, but not a ton of real. You didn't know for sure what they would turn into. Like you can watch the tape and see the skill and all the things that they were able to do in the USHL last year. I don't know. I would imagine that Dave Drinkel and his scouting staff knew that there was a chance these guys could lead the league in scoring, but they caught a lot of people by surprise because their names just weren't on OHL radars of kind of the casual fan. So, and again, to see everything that we saw last year between Misa and Parek and all the accolades that were won, Misa leading the league in scoring, I don't know that, I wasn't really expecting to see something similar to that happen again this year, unless Michael came back. And so, Michael stays in the NHL, like you said, but still here we are. We're 10 days from the end of the regular season, and Nikita Klepov is leading the league in scoring. So obviously the hope is that continues, and who knows, maybe we see back-to-back Eddie Powers trophies here.
Did you find right off the bat those guys seem to build chemistry? Of course, Dima Zilkin back as well, and just that power play, 33 combined power play goals as we talk among those 3 guys with Klepov and Barabanov as well. But the chemistry seemed to come along right away.
Yeah, and by right away I mean like blue and white scrimmage in camp, not even training camp games or the first game. And they'll have nights that are obviously better than others, but I think if you stack up every single one of our games, they've played probably at 5-on-5, they've played 85% of the time together, and it's just been, domination a lot of the time, and they all seem to work kind of hand in hand, and they're all so uniquely talented, but all of their skill sets are just unique enough and just different enough that when you kind of throw them all together, it's pretty magical. Like, Zilkin can kind of be the bowling ball on that line with obviously a great scoring touch. Barabanov, the setup guy, the playmaker, the kind of the more cerebral, like watching him, it kind of reminds me a lot of watching Zane Parek, and the fact that he's scanning and checking a lot, and it might not look like he's doing a ton, but he'll make some crafty plays and he'll slip away, and all of a sudden, you look down at the score sheet and maybe he has a quiet night by the eye test, but he's got 3 assists at the end of it. And then Nikita Klepov's just kind of raw scoring power, and I think his skating sets him above a lot of the guys in the OHL right now. And again, you throw those 3 guys together, it's a dangerous combination. The thing I've liked recently is, on our most recent road trip, there were more times when they kind of got split up, and it forced some unique line combinations. I really enjoyed seeing what that brought up and what that opened up, because I mean, again, I don't think it's quite as common anymore for 3 guys to stick together that much for that long. So when they do finally get broken up and kind of rearranged a little bit, you can almost get the feeling of looking around like, all right, what's going to happen now? Like, I'm not used to seeing you over there. It forces a different way of thinking, and fortunately this weekend for us, it's led to a lot of points all around.
The growth of Dima Zilkin, obviously, wearing the C for the team, but a guy who, 33 goals now and come along now in his second year.
He's been so much fun to watch, and you know what, with all the hype that the draft eligible guys have gotten, Klepov, Barabanov, Shurigan, all different ages, right? Like Klepov in his first year of eligibility, Barabanov kind of a double re-entry guy, and Shurigan in 07, Brody Popoy, not to be forgotten about in that conversation. Dima's not eligible until next year, being a late birthday, but I get the feeling that probably some NHL teams that would take a swing on him this year if the draft were to come around. He just finds a way. Like he's got whatever, I don't know, whatever X factor, whatever it you want to kind of throw out there. He's got it. He has a confidence that he knows he's going to be able to back things up with his play more often than not. And again, I mean, we've seen he's not shy. He's not gonna keep his gloves on a lot of the time. So he'll throw him. He'll throw the body around, and you know what? He's been one of the more entertaining players to watch. I don't think it surprised anybody when they stuck the C on him this year.
We focused on the forwards, but again, you kind of said some guys remind you of watching Zane Parekh out there. I think Levi Harper has certainly brought that as well and been that guy who can help be that creative guy and a bit of a playmaker.
Yeah. And for the first, I don't know, maybe we'll call it first half of the year, I shied away from saying that on any of the broadcasts, just because it seemed like an unfair expectation, especially with, you know, all the hype around Zane and, you know, all the records that he's piled up around here. You know, his name's everywhere you look around the building and on the NHL wall. We got the guys have the wall in their lounge in the dressing room that's got the names of every Spirit alum that's gone on to play in the National Hockey League, and you know, adding Zane's name to that, it seemed a little bit unfair for Levi to come in and immediately have that kind of placed on his shoulders. Like, well, you're a right shot D. We just had this right shot D that's pretty good at hockey. You're like him. But as the season's gone on, you know, he's overtaken Zane's rookie scoring record, and a little bit of a distinction. Zane was a 16-year-old his first year here in Saginaw, but you know, Levi born in October. Zane was born in February, so there's a little bit of an age gap, not really a ton, but Levi late birth year. So it's been so much fun to watch and see him come along, and you know, you see some of the same things that Zane went into, or that Zane went through that rookie year, right? Like there's so much potential, there's so much creativity. Sometimes you're going to take risks, and sometimes you're going to get burned on. But you know what? You'd rather him take those in a year like this.
That was Dylan Clark, the voice of the Saginaw Spirit. We're going to change things up this week and highlight the OHL Power Rankings. The Brantford Bulldogs lead the way across the Ontario Hockey League, moving up 2 spots from last week. The top 5 rounded out by the Kitchener Rangers, Barrie Colts, Flint Firebirds, and Windsor Spitfires. That's going to do it for our show this week. You've been listening to OHL News. I'm Terry Doyle. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome back to the Tribute Community Center in Oshawa, where it's a 3-3 hockey game between the Barrie Colts and the Oshawa Generals. The chat is alive and well, so if you want to take part in the conversation, if you have anything in particular you want to discuss, be it something related to the Colts and the playoff push, or just the OHL in general, or I don't know what else you want to talk about that involves Oshawa, but we invite you to join in on the chat.
We're not too big of experts on the QMJHL, but if we need to deep dive, we could try.
We could
put in an effort.
Well, there was that goalie fight between St. John and Halifax the other day.
I did see that.
So
one.
we could.
We know that.
But yes, we do have the chat running, and we want to thank everyone who's taken part in the conversations already during this hockey game. But in the meantime, it is Sunday, which means we have plenty of action around the OHL. Mind you, a lot of these games happened earlier today. So let's take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
7 other games going on. Of course, this is actually the best day, Sunday, we've had, because when you're in Oshawa, usually you're the only game on at 6 o'clock, but there's actually one other game on right now. Looking at the scores from earlier today, a 3-goal second for the Kingston Frontenacs led them to a big 4-1 victory over the Brampton Steelheads, as it looks more and more likely they will be 6th place, as the 7th place Ice Dogs lost 6-0 to the Ottawa 67s. Nick Whitehead as well as Spencer Bowes with a pair of goals in that one. Peterborough with 2 goals in the third period to pick up a big overtime victory over the North Bay Battalion. Brenner Faulkner with the overtime winner there. A combined 15 power plays in the game between Saginaw and Sarnia. Wow. Saginaw had 4 power play goals, 7 goals total to win that game by a score of 7-3. Brantford and the Sioux, what a performance by David Egeroff, stopping 40 of 40. Bulldogs will get 3 goals on 21 shots, including an empty netter to win that game 3-0. Windsor and London in the shocker of the day. Andrew Robinson scoring 3 of 5 goals from the Spitfires back end tonight. An 8-2 victory over London. Of course, we got our game. And then Dylan Edwards with the only goal, 1-0 Kitchener after 1 shots on goal in that one. 14-3 for the Rangers over the Guelph Storm.
So about 4.5 minutes away from the start of the third period of play between the Barrie Colts and the Oshawa Generals. And we see that Matthew asking if we're going to Kingston today. No, we will actually be driving back to Barrie after this game. And that's kind of the benefit for the Barrie Colts geographically. They can go back home, sleep in their own beds, probably have a skate, probably the Tuesday, and then travel to Kingston on either the Tuesday afternoon or the Wednesday. We're heading down on Wednesday, so Gene Pereira should be joining us on that road trip. So we will have those 2 broadcasts from Kingston and Peterborough, and it's the March break, so it's an interesting time of year because you can have these extra games on the road where you can make it back-to-back nights away from home, and that's what the Barrie Colts are doing here. So 2 big games against Kingston and Peterborough coming up this week.
That should be a lot of fun. Probably a bit weird to be out in the middle of the week for us, but it's going to be a couple fun games. Would have been a bit more interesting if they were pushed ahead a day and we were down in Kingston for St. Paddy's Day, but we'll get the after effects of the party of Kingston for St. Patrick's Day on Tuesday, and should be 2 good games. Obviously, Barrie Kingston. Kingston's a very defensive team. They've kept all those games pretty close. 5th best goaltending by save percentage in the OHL. And then the Peterborough Petes are the 4th best team in the OHL at home. They're really good at home, struggle a bit on the road. So that's going to be a tough task. Barrie picked up a 2-1 victory over them earlier this season. So it should be a tight matchup.
And Kingston Frontenacs head coach Troy Mann actually just recorded his 100th career win as head coach. So Troy Mann has done such a great job turning that team around. Last year surprised many at the trade deadline, being a buyer, making those big trades with the Saginaw Spirit. And then this year, many were wondering, okay, would they be one of those teams maybe missing the playoffs this year? But, with Mann's, strategy and style, everyone has bought in. And what about Malik McGowan? What a great player he's been. They decided they wanted to keep him in Kingston so they could have a playoff run. And it's been all working out, and right now passing Niagara in Eastern Conference standing. So it will be interesting when we're in Kingston on Wednesday night to see that Frontenacs team up close before the playoffs.
Well, how about those 2 goalies? I mean, Gavin Betts and Matt Minchuk, both of those guys are having really strong years, Betts especially in the second half, and that's going to allow Kingston to have a shot. I mean, 3-6 against Ottawa. It's looking like right now that's going to be tough, but they play the 67s hard. They've got the goaltending, and that's the biggest advantage a bottom seed can have is having that goaltending. Remember, a couple of years ago, Barrie Oshawa, Sam Hillebrand stole a couple of games for the Barrie Colts. Ben West, even in the game he got in, kept it close for the Colts in a pretty tight game. And so at the end of the day, if you've got goaltending, you've got a shot in any series against anyone.
Yeah, so it's not a given that the teams that have home ice advantage are going to be advancing to the second round. I know a lot of people have been talking about how once Barrie moves on past the first round, it's going to be Ottawa in the second. Well, hold your horses a little bit. We got to play the games. We've seen it in recent history. Look at Windsor when they were that 1 seed, swept by the Kitchener Rangers in the first round. These upsets can happen. So if you're going to pick a team in the Eastern Conference that could pull off the upset, keep an eye on those Kingston Frontenacs. That's a team that could make things very interesting come playoff time.
Yeah, it's they're a solid team, and we kind of talked about it with Oshawa tonight, where they keep the games close. Kingston doesn't lose 8-1 or 6-2. They lose those tight games, and so at the end of the day, one of the things that Troy Mann does really good, he keeps his teams very disciplined. The last 2 years, they have had the least penalty minutes in the OHL. So if you think you're going to come in and win the series because you scored 10 power play goals, you're lying to yourself, because A, they have a solid penalty kill. So when they give up penalties, they usually do have a good enough penalty kill to shut those down. And for the most part, they do stay out of the box. However, that first game between Barrie and Kingston this year at the Sadlin Arena, I think Kingston was in the box about 6 times.
Well, we were all preparing for this game where two teams are playing some disciplined hockey, but Kingston, I think, had a bit of a bee in their bonnet after what happened in the playoffs last year. Remember, that was a 7-game classic between the Frontenacs and the Colts. And I know it looks like it's going to be either Niagara or Kingston in that first round. And if it was Barrie-Kingston, I would expect it to be a pretty tight series, kind of like what we saw last year, even though the Frontenacs missing some of that firepower that we saw them have last year.
Yeah, both teams won all their games at home, and for the Kingston Frontenacs as a road team, they couldn't steal a game at the Sadlin Arena last year, and that cost them. And Niagara as well would be an interesting series. Obviously, you got to wonder, is Ryan Roberk back from injury for that series? And of course, it feels like it would be a bit of a different series. We just talked about Kingston Barrie being close and low scoring. I think a Barrie Niagara series, Niagara's going to have to play a pretty high scoring level of game if they want to beat the Barrie Colts.
So the third period of play underway. The puck's in the neutral zone. Cole Baudouin's going to send it across to Kayshawn Aitchison. Aitchison up to Wilmot. Wilmot takes a hard hit. That was from Harrison Franzen. Puck goes to the corner. Lucas Moore. He's just going to flip this one down the ice. Puck's bouncing. I'm trying to get to it. No icing. Hanser's going to send it around the boards. After it is Baudouin on the near side. He's going to get it to the line. Not out. Kept in by Moore. That one bouncing along from the dasher. Ends up in the far corner. Hanser trying to get it out. Clyde's into Hein there. Wilmot trying to play it along the boards. Hein between the legs. Goes right to Cole Baudouin. He's going to get it out for the Colts. Baudouin at center ice. He's going to dump it in. Humphreys out of his net. Leaving it there for Frolov. Martin Frolov, former Niagara Ice Dog. Taking his time as Oshawa right now completing a change. 1 minute already gone here in the third period. Puck bouncing down the ice. And that's going to be an icing call now against Oshawa.
Barrie and Oshawa, tight second period. Shots on goal 7-6 for the Barrie Colts. And it's been a low shot game, but still some good amount of goals. 6 total between the two teams. And see which goalie can settle in here in the third. I think both Humphreys and Jaswal have made some solid saves, but both teams been able to find the back of the net a couple times.
And the last 3 goals in this hockey game have had to come on the power play, 2 for Barrie and 1 for Oshawa. As the Colts win the faceoff, here's Eliasson at the point. Takes the shot, blocked by Rogowski. Picked up by Zabeski. Mason Zabeski goes to Eliasson. Gabriel Eliasson gives this one up to Brad Gardner. At the point, Zabeski fires that one wide. It's loose in the crease. They jam at it. Slandra trying to find it. Humphreys couldn't cover it up. Puck goes to the corner. Griffin, he'll give it up to Frolov. Frolov gets to the line. That's going to be kept in by Salandra. Zabeski trying to send it ahead. Salandra runs into Calto. Puck goes to the far side. Vlasic. Vlasic will hammer this one down the ice. And now an icing call against Oshawa. That puck came all the way back to the blue line.
Gardner was in the neutral zone. It's like everyone looked around and went, is this still icing?
Are we going to get a whistle? What's going to happen? Well, you had all the Oshawa General players. Usually they try to sneak off to get a line change, but they didn't even bother.
Back. There was one icing earlier in the game for Barrie that they tried to change the entire team. They had like 9 guys skating around on me.
Face-off won by the Colts. Here's Emerton at the point. Goes to Hemming. Hemming's pass deflected. Wilmot! And that's blocked in front. Puck goes to the corner. Hemming can't keep it at the point. Puck goes down the ice. Emerton back to play it. No icing, so Oshawa can make the line change. Up the wing it goes. Hemming takes the hit from Moore. Emil Hemming towards the net. Blocked by Lachon. Vader keeps it at the blue line. Puts it behind the Oshawa net. LaShaw after it. Wilmot picks it up for the Colts. Hemming comes back to the blue line. Gives it up to Emerton. Emerton to the net. Deflected. Beaudoin put it wide. Figlimanni from the corner takes the hit. Wilmot to Hemming at the point. Vader. Emerton, far point, takes the shot. Deflected. Humphrey's got a piece of it. Puck goes to the corner. Wilmot's knocked over. Puck comes to the line. Kept in by Emerton. And that's going to be a glove-to-head pass. So this faceoff will now come outside the Oshawa blue line.
Obviously, Barrie looking for a strong start to this 3-game road trip here. It got an opportunity to squeeze out a victory. That's been a perfect game, but it's tied here in the third period, and the score is all that matters at the end of the night. Going forward into a couple big matchups against Kingston and Peterborough, and again, closing out the year with the Niagara Ice Dogs. And crazy to think the year's already done.
And that's going to be a nice and call against Oshawa. And it's so weird that our first trip to Peterborough is going to be at the end of the regular season. A team that's in the Eastern Conference, and yet the Barrie Colts only play twice.
That's the only place I haven't been yet.
Yeah, you're almost at the 20 mark.
I'm 19 to 20, and we're almost there. And it took until the final 4 days of the season to get it done, though.
The schedule just doesn't make that much sense to me. Just you wait until almost the end of the season to see a team in your own conference.
Well, we haven't seen Sudbury outside of last night since
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve. So I think when you've got 8 games, 7 months of a season, you should probably be splitting them up.
Puck goes to the net. Newton skated in front, side of the goal. Schneid. Humphreys trying to get back into position at the point, but Eliasson can't get to it. He'll dump this one in. Around the boards it goes.
We're going to have to do our monthly changing the schedule talk at intermission on Wednesday, aren't we?
Wednesday or Thursday. We'll have to wait and see. Puck sent ahead. Colts pick it up in the neutral zone. Bird Leitner there to play it. Picked up by Roberts. He's going to skate back into his own zone. Sam Roberts hits the brakes behind the net. We'll go to Frolov. Colts right now completing a line change. 16:26 left to go in the period. Bird Leitner chips it back to Roberts. Roberts along the boards. Puck goes behind the Barrie net. After it's Desiderio. Govro along the boards. Trying to protect it from Bird Leitner. Generals trying to recover. Roberts takes a couple of bumps from Hanser. Desiderio has it. His stick tied up. And that's going to get out and down the ice. And now an icing call against the Barrie Colts as we're approaching the 4-minute mark of the third period.
Another slowish pace here to the start of this period. Govro and Roberts going at it now. And these two teams, it's been a pretty tight game. Not a lot of chances being given up on either side. And same as carried over here to the third period.
So look at this face-off now to the right of Arvin Jaswal. Eamon Edgar will take the draw against Harrison Franzen. Franzen was the one who tied the game at 3 in the second period. Face-off won by the Colts. Govro skates this one out. That's going to be a penalty against Oshawa. And then Govro running over DiPlacido at the whistle. But it's going to be a hooking penalty against Oshawa. And it looks like Govro is going off as well now. Oh, I thought he was.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. For good measure, he's heading off. So it's going to be a 4-on-4.
I think they said holding the stick for Govro. He laid that big hit at the end on DiPlacido. Former Brantford Bulldog got into some action last year in the playoffs. Traded in the Ben Danford deal, the third piece in that one. Getting an opportunity here, only 6 games played this year, but Oshawa a bit short on the back end. Charlie Hilt, normal left winger, he's playing center tonight.
There's some interesting looks on the lineup for both teams.
Or he's playing defense, he's not playing center.
That's okay, we'll figure it out.
What did I just say?
You know what? No one's going to remember. Nope.
It's the cotton candy talk.
It's got to be the cotton candy. You've been enjoying that cotton candy.
It's all right.
Courtesy of Richard.
Thank you, Richard. You've been too.
I have. We're trying to figure out what tastes different, the blue or the pink. I think it tastes the same.
I think so too. It's a
Here's Lucas Moore. He'll carry it in for the Oshawa Generals. Sends this one around the board. So it's 4-on-4 for 1:42. Ends up back behind the Barrie net. Aitchison chasing after it. That's blocked by Moore. More in front to Wang. He was alone in front, but the puck got away from him. Matthew Wang loses it to Cole Baudouin. He's going to skate it out. Baudouin through the neutral zone on the wing. That's poked by Lachon. That's taken away by Posthumus. He's going to go back behind his own net. Luke Posthumus gets to his own blue line, still with it. Going end to end. Posthumus hits the brakes. His pass blocked by Aitchison. Comes back to the point, taken by Gardner. Gardner, though, he's going to skate this one back. Barrie right now making a line change, as are the Generals. 5 minutes now gone in the third period. Gardner skates it in for Barrie. Along the boards, skates into the boards. Sends this one back to Emerton, to the nets in front, but Wilmot couldn't connect. It was bouncing in front, goes over to Gardner on the near side. Wilmot kicks it over to Gardner. Gardner in the slot, toe drag around, but that's knocked away by Vlasic. And the Generals get it out. Brooks Rogowski, his pass picked off by Wilmot. Rogowski gets it again into the zone. Passes this one ahead to Griffin. That one knocked away by Eliason. Griffin in front, all alone, backhand. Owen Griffin alone in front. Great effort by Brooks Rogowski. And the Oshawa Generals, they're back in front. It's now 4-3.
Oshawa taking advantage of the open ice. One end, Wilmot had a chance at the net, couldn't get it knocked down. Then here, Eliason tries to get the pass through. It's knocked down out front by Rogowski, who's able to send it across. Wide open out front is Griffin. Nice play. No one back for the Colts. And Oshawa's got the lead again.
Owen Griffin is not the player you want to be leaving all alone in front of your net. He now has 25 goals on the season. And the 4-on-4 situation continues for another 26 seconds. Vlasic passing this one over. Hilton across. Bert Leitner will dump it in. Smirnov chasing after it. Beats out the icing. Smirnov along the corner. Aitchison knocks it away from him. Kayshawn Aitchison goes to Salandra. Aitchison's taken down. Colts want a penalty. None coming. Joe Salandra with it. He's going to skate this one up. Reaches center ice. Gets by Smirnov. Salandra carries it in. The penalized players are back out. Salandra around the net. Delayed penalty now against Oshawa. Salandra takes the shot. Stopped by Humphreys. Loose puck Zabeski. Zabeski back to Aitchison. Kayshawn Aitchison goes over to Von Richter. Hemming behind the back to Aitchison. Ahead for Cole Baudouin. Baudouin fires. Stopped by Humphreys. Zabeski gets it again for the Colts. Loose puck still on the delayed penalty against Oshawa. Puck goes to the corner. Wilmot. His pass taken away, so we get the call. And it's going to be a slash against the Oshawa Generals. So Charlie Hilton, the guilty party, and the Barrie Colts are going on the man advantage.
It looked like Colts wanted a call on Slay when Aitchison was held down, taken down, but didn't get it, even though the official was right in front of the play. And then Hilton with the slash there, and the Colts go right back on the power play now with an opportunity to tie this game.
And this is power play number 4 for the Barrie Colts. This power play brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. And the Barrie Colts have had success tonight on the man advantage. Hemming and Gardner are the 2 power play goal scorers for the Colts. That came early in the second period. But we'll see how this plays out. Big faceoff will come to the right of Matthew Humphreys. Cole Baudouin, he's going to step in to take this faceoff for the Colts up against Harrison Franzen. Faceoff won by the Colts. Lachon took it away. Puck comes back to the point for Aitchison. Aitchison up to Hemming. Hemming fires. That's blocked by Lachon. Puck goes to the corner. At the point, Aitchison across to Salandra. The puck bounced on him. Across to Gardner, but Lachon got a stick in the lane. Hemming towards the nets, and the Generals will get it out. Jaswal, he'll pass this one up to Kayshawn Aitchison. Oshawa changing the penalty kill unit. The boos raining from the crowd as Aitchison has it. Up to Gardner. He'll put this one back to Emil Hemming. Baudouin at center ice. He'll skate this one in. Baudouin, he's got Hemming going to the net. Baudouin decides to peel back in the corner. Back to Aitchison. Aitchison over to Salandra. Salandra fires. Stopped by Humphreys. Diving for it was Hemming, and the Generals, though, they get it out to center. Picked up by Gardner. Power play now down to 1:05. Aitchison backtracking in his own zone. Up to Beaudoin. Cole Beaudoin passes this one over to Salandra. Salandra's pass is blocked, and the Generals will get it out once again. Power play now down to 50 seconds with Charlie Hilton in the box. Aitchison will set up behind his own net. Aitchison up to the blue line, drops this one back to Hemming. Emil Hemming through center ice. He'll skate this one in for the Colts. Poked off his stick, trying to keep it in play, but the Generals get it out once more. Great effort on this penalty kill right now for Oshawa. Jaswell sends it ahead. The Generals want too many men on the ice, and it looks as though they're going to get it. So with Jaswell playing that puck ahead, there was some confusion in front of the bench for Barrie, and they've been caught.
Now the Generals noticed it pretty quickly, and obviously when there's a lot of shouting like that, a call's eventually going to come once the officials look over and see. Eamon Edgar will be the one that has to sit in the box, and for Barrie, just a bit too slow getting off the ice, and that'll negate the power play chance.
So that means it's going to be 4-on-4 for 24 seconds, and then Oshawa will get their fourth power play of the night. They already have one power play goal. So face-off now to the left of Arvin Jaswal. Wilmot's going to take the draw against Rogowski. Face-off won by the Generals. Sebeski, though, picks the pocket of Owen Griffin. Puck's at center. Wilmot skates it in. Wilmot on the far side. Backhand, stopped by Humphreys as he was hugging that post. And he's able to hold on and not allow any rebound.
A good shot by Humphreys. That's happened a couple times tonight where he's kind of looks like he's unsure if he has it or not, but just gets enough of it to make that save and hit the hold.
So look at this face-off now to the left of Humphreys. 13 seconds left in the penalty to Hilton, and then Oshawa will go on the man advantage. Face-off won by the Colts. Here's Justin Hanser. Hanser takes to the corner. Back to the blue line for Wilmot. Wilmot fires, deflected, stopped by Humphreys. Moore picks up the loose puck. And Oshawa now on the power play as Hilton comes out of the box. Their fourth power play of the game. 1 for 3 on the man advantage so far tonight. And as Oshawa will skate it up, it's Posthumus. He's going to skate this one into the attacking zone. Goes over to Franzen. Franzen tied up along the boards. Back to Blassett. Near side. Calto hits the side of the net. Franzen picks it up on the far side. Loses it. Wilmot couldn't hold it. Calto's going to send it around. Rogowski on the near side. Brooks Rogowski. Into the corner he goes. Back to the point. Posthumus. Posthumus holds on to it to Rogowski. Across. Can't find Griffin. Griffin to hands Franzen. He's hit from behind. Fans want a penalty. None coming. Generals trying to send it back to the point. Rogowski keeps this one in play. Sends it down low to Calto. Back to Posthumus at the point. One-timer. Griffin stopped by Jaswal. Griffin back to the point for Posthumus. He keeps this one in. 37 seconds left in the power play for Oshawa. Posthumus has it out the half boards. He'll skate this one towards the corner. Franzen between the legs. Stopped by Jaswal. They jam at it. But the Colts goaltender able to hold on as Calto just tossed aside by Mason Zabeski.
That's not the duo you want to get involved with. Gabriel Eliasson and Mason Zabeski both coming after you. It's Calto, couple extra taps there trying to get that puck loose and find the back of the net. Well, every hockey player will. They'll do it in their on the other goalie, but when they do it to your goalie, they fight back.
Well, the face-off, because of that scrum, they're going to take it outside the Barrie Colts blue line. Carter Lowe's going to take the draw against Bird Leitner. Or we think that's what's going to happen. There we go. Face-off won by the Generals. Smirnov sends this one back to Lachon. Lucas Moore now from his own blue line. Skates it up for the Generals. That pass disrupted by Gardner. Roberts, he's hitting the boards. Eliasson's just going to clear it out. Humphreys comes out of his net to play it. Eamon Edgar about to come out of the penalty box in 6 seconds. Moore comes out from behind the net. He'll skate this one forward. Moore reaches center ice. Skates this one in. Trying to go up the middle. Puck taken away. Edgar out of the penalty box. He'll set up Carter Lowe. Lowe skates this one in for the Colts. Drops it back to Edgar. Edgar towards the net. Backhand trying to go up top. But Humphreys makes the save. as Eamon Edgar, very crafty in tight spaces.
Yeah, perfect timing. Gets out of the box. Nice play to move it forward to Carter Lowe, and then some pressure gets to Lowe, and he's able to drop it back for Edgar, who works it down low, and he'll set the Colts up with an offensive zone draw here with 9:38 to go.
Right now, shots 22-16 in favor of Oshawa. So Barrie kind of closing the gap now on that shot clock. So in steps Jaden Newton to take the faceoff here for the Barrie Colts up against Calto. Faceoff won by the Colts. Here's Vader at the point. Takes the shot, deflected. Puck's loose. Generals get to it. And they're going to put this one over the glass. That's going to be delay of game. So Charlie Hilton, he's going to go off once more here for the Oshawa Generals.
Yeah, there's sometimes debate about whether it's delay or game or not, but that one pretty easy for the officials to call there as Hilton just flips that one up in the air and it goes up into the crowd. And undisciplined mistakes. Barrie just had one and nearly costs them, but it does, and they survive that power play. Now back the other way, an opportunity here.
This Barrie Colts power play brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. Face-off won by the Colts. Here's Parker Von Richter. Von Richter shot, stopped by Humphrey. Schneid was parked in front, couldn't get a stick on it. Sebeski after the loose puck along the boards. Sebeski back to the point, Emerton, but he can't keep it in. Cole Emerton from his own blue line goes across to Wilmot, back to Emerton in front of his own goal. Still a minute 38 to go here on the man advantage for Barrie. Emerton's going to quickly move it up. Here's Sebeski in the neutral zone, back to Von Richter. Wilmot reaches center. His pass picked off by Griffin. Von Richter up ahead. Oshawa, though, will dump it back into the Barrie zone. Emerton takes it out from behind the net. 1:18 remaining in the man advantage. Von Richter reaches center. He's going to dump this one in. Around the boards it goes. Schneid after it. Wilmot follows it up. Loose puck, and the Generals send this one down the ice. Barrie having some issues getting this power play set up. 1 minute still to work with Charlie Hilton in the penalty box. Emerton's going to send it back to Beaudoin. Cole Beaudoin reaches center. He'll skate this one ahead. Here's Brad Gardner on the wing. Gardner backhand across. Schneid shot stopped in front, and the Generals get it out. That's going to go down the length of the ice. Jaswal will play it ahead to Gardner. Here's Beaudoin, enters the zone. Cole Beaudoin's got Hemming going to the net. Beaudoin back to Aitchison at the point. Over to Salandra. Aitchison again. Hemming from the faceoff dot. Goes back to Aitchison at the blue line. Takes the shot, and that's deflected wide. Hemming gets it again. His pass is blocked by Moore, and the Generals will get it out. Owen Griffin through center. Up to Franzen, shorthanded. 15 seconds left in the penalty. Salandra gets it deep in his own zone. Kayshawn Aitchison with it. It's in his skates. He'll set things up. Drops it back to Hemming. Emil Hemming gets by Franzen. Franzen loses it. Gardner back to Aitchison. He's going to put that to the corner as the power play has expired. So the Colts now 2 for 5 on the man advantage. Pucks to the net. Franzen's going to flip this one out. That's going to escape to center ice. Justin Hanser up to Gardner. Gardner tried to get that one in the zone. Colts are in the process of making a line change. Gardner again into the attacking zone. Takes the hit there from Frolov. Puck goes deep into the Oshawa zone. Vlasic back behind his own net. Vlasic skates this one up here for Oshawa from his own blue line. Passes it over to Frolov. He's going to dump it in. Doesn't go too far. Von Richter sends this one head. Edgar comes up with it. Eamon Edgar fires. Stopped by Humphreys. And he's going to hold on for the face-off with 6:48 remaining in this hockey game.
Time getting a bit low on this game. Barrie didn't have much going on the power play there as Aitchison had a couple looks, but it's not much going on there for the Colts. As fourth line following it up here. Good look for Edgar. Well, maybe they can try and get something started.
Well, it's now 22-20 of the shots for Oshawa as Barrie has quickly closed the gap. Face-off won by the Colts. There's another shot. This time it's blocked. Lucas Moore gets it in the corner. Smirnov gets this one out to center. Newton trying to get a stick on it. Following it up is Wang. He's taken to the boards by Desiderio. Colts get this one out to center. Picking it up is Moore. He's going to skate it in himself. Lucas Moore bursts to speed to the net. Takes the shot. Stopped by Jaswal. He's going to hold on to it. And now we've got another scrum As an Oshawa player was trying to jam at it, Desiderio took down his man. Figueroa was the one that went to the net. And we'll have to wait and see if we're going to get any penalties out of this.
Well, there's a 3-on-1 there for Barrie against General player out front there. Oshawa got in, and then things unraveled a bit, but Aitchison and Figliamani having words now after that, but Oshawa trying to keep up the pressure and get that extra goal.
So we'll bring this face-off now to the right of Arvin Jaswal. Both teams kind of taking their time with the line change. It seemed like maybe the Colts trying to catch Oshawa off guard, but they quickly followed Barrie's lead. So Gardner is going to take the draw now against Bird Leitner. Face-off won by the Generals. They're going to have to come back into the neutral zone with it. Frolov sends that one across to Vlasic. Vlasic is dump in, tipped in by Bird Leitner, so no icing. Aitchison behind his own net, goes up to Mason Zabeski. Zabeski sends it across, that one off Roberts. Gardner's pass is then picked off by Bird Leitner. Bird Leitner loses it. Mason Zabeski sent it forward, but Salandra wasn't ready for it. Salandra taken into the boards by Frolov as they meet in the near corner in the Oshawa zone. Under 6 minutes remaining now in this third period. Oshawa up by 1. Puck sent deep. Roberts chasing after it. Beats out the icing. Puck's in the corner. Aitchison trying to knock that one free along the boards. Gardner with a hit from behind, and that's going to be a penalty. They're going to call this interference. So the Oshawa Generals are going to go on a power play late in the third period.
Big opportunity there for the Gens as now Salandra and Bird Leitner get into it. And I thought the guy had the puck. I thought it'd be check from behind or cross-checking, but call it interference.
Well, we're waiting to see who's going to go into the penalty box. It was Gardner who threw the hit. Nobody's in there. Are they now not calling the penalty? Or they're trying to figure out who should be in the penalty box. You got the linesman over talking with a couple of Colt players. Now Gardner's going to head over. That took a little bit. So it will be, in fact, Brad Gardner heading off. So it's going to be a power play here for Oshawa. They're 5th of the night. They're already 1 for 4 on the man advantage. So we'll get this face-off now to the left of Arvin Jaswal. They're Barrie Colts down by 1, and now they have to kill off another penalty. So penalties becoming an issue again here tonight for the Barrie Colts. Bodwen's going to take the face-off against Brooks Rogowski. Players fall on top of the puck. Generals get to it. Postumus in front, trying to go across to Franz, and that doesn't connect. Owen Griffin comes off the boards. Down low, Franzen in front, jamming at it. Loose puck, stopped by Jaswal. Another save. It's still loose, and Arvin Jaswal able to cover it up as it was just a swarm of green sweaters around the Barrie Colts netminder.
Yeah, good job by Arvin Jaswal there. A couple of looks by Oshawa, similar to that power play goal they had. They get the shot in, and then everyone converges on Arvin Jaswal. They jam away, and this time, though, he's able to stay on his feet and make the saves.
Mario Pouliot, quite the active coach. He keeps running to the end of the bench to have words with the power play unit. Been doing that all night. Seems to be working as Franzen goes to the net. Puck's loose. Rogowski back to Postumus at the point. Doesn't take the shot. Luke Postumus across, deflected by Hemming. Franzen dives for it, sends it back to Rogowski. Rogowski takes it down low for Oshawa. Back to the blue line, Griffin. Owen Griffin towards the net. Toe drag across Rogowski. The power play strikes again for the Oshawa Generals as Brooks Rogowski had an open cage. And it's now a 5-3 hockey game.
The Generals very aggressive on the power play, and Griffin does a nice job working it through. Branson in the corner with a great diving play and then keeps it alive. Griffin works around the defenders. Rogowski was left wide open. The Generals very aggressive and they capitalize. Whatever Mario Pouliot was running down the bench to say, it worked.
Yeah, exactly. As the power play now 2 for 5 tonight for the Oshawa Generals. They've taken the lead here. They're now up 25-21 on the shots. We'll see how the Colts respond. They have under 5 minutes to work with as Teague Vader has it in his own zone. Back to Emerton. Emerton sends this one ahead. Slander tried to get a stick on it. They're going to say he did. Puck side of the goal, and then Gardner trips up the Oshawa player behind the net. And that was after the whistle, and now Brad Gardner is going to go off as he tripped up Frolov, who was coming back to get the puck.
And they're both racing after it. Thought the puck was going to come behind. Humphreys grabs it and holds it. And Gardner gets that knee in on the back of the leg of Frolov, and down he goes. And Oshawa right back to the power play.
So penalties becoming an issue here for the Barrie Colts. As Brad Gardner back in the penalty box. Something you don't usually see from Brad Gardner is multiple penalties in a hockey game like that. And that one just undisciplined, taking down Frolov behind the net. So now a chance here for Oshawa to really take this game away. Generals win the face-off. Here's Rogowski, takes it down low. Back to the blue line, Posthumus. Across. Here's Posthumus again. It's an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty to Brad Gardner as Von Richter throws his weight around. Puck's in the near corner. Carter Lowe digs this one free for the Colts. Lowe trying to send it around. Calto is in the way. Aitchison's going to clear it. That's going to go down the length of the ice. Barrie's going to make a line change here as Posthumus comes back to pick it up. Posthumus, he's going to skate end to end. Goes over to Franzen on the wing. That's blocked by Hanser. Puck goes to the corner. He's knocked down. Franzen sends this one back to Griffin. Owen Griffin down low to Franzen. Back to Griffin. Griffin gets around Schneid. Has a lane. Franzen behind the back. Stopped by Jaswal. And the puck goes wide of the net. Oshawa just pouring it on right now as Newton blocks that pass, and he's going to clear it. Humphreys comes out of his net. Posthumus back to pick it up. 53 seconds left in the penalty to Gardner. Puck comes out to the neutral zone. Aitchison finds it. He'll chip this one forward. Bird Leitner. He can't get a stick on it. Schneid, he's taken to the boards. Back to Wilmot. Shorthanded shot. Kicked aside. Rebound. Von Richter scores! Parker Von Richter shorthanded. And the Barrie Colts, they're back within one.
Well, a huge goal there from Barrie. Great play by Aitchison. Getting in down low. Knocks that puck free for Wilmot. 4 Generals are right there. And Aitchison finds a way, gets it through all of them to find Wilmot. Initial stop made by Humphreys, but then Von Richter's open. And now if the Barrie Colts can kill off the next 38 seconds of this power play, they'll have 2:40 to go, only down by 1 once again.
Well, this is not the most ideal situation if you're the Barrie Colts, but they're finding a way, and we'll see if they can continue this momentum after that shorthanded goal from Parker Von Richter, who now has 12 goals on the season. 3:10 left to go in the hockey game. 25 seconds left in the penalty to Brad Gardner. Moore sends it up to Smirnov. He's going to dump it in. Von Richter back after it. Takes the hit from Figliomeni. Puck goes behind the net. Wang trying to put it out in front. That's blocked. Knocked away by Wilmot. Joe Salandra picks it up. Up to Wilmot, but that's poked away by Vlasic. Gardner about to come out of the penalty box. Puck goes back into the Oshawa zone. Lucas Moore, he's going to skate it up. He's got space. Moore reaches center. Dumps this one in right on net. And Jaswal's just going to cover it up as the power play has expired. But what a finish to this one. Barrie still in it despite some penalty troubles and Oshawa kind of taking control of the game.
And Oshawa gets that power play goal to make it 5-3. And I mean, it wasn't over, but you kind of wondered, that's a tough task, but especially after they take another penalty, but then Colts, they get a shorthanded goal and all of a sudden it's game on. Top guys are out there for Barrie now.
Face-off won by the Generals. Frolov's going to send it around the boards. Calto after it. That goes in the air, picked up by Hanser. Eliasson up to Beaudoin. Cole Beaudoin up the ice. Hemming will hit the brakes. Up to Cole Beaudoin. Beaudoin along the boards, across to Aitchison. Aitchison shot stopped by Humphreys. What a save by the Oshawa goaltender. Puck goes to the corner. Beaudoin there to play it. Taken away by Frolov. Puck goes to the open corner. Hemming takes him into the boards. Loose puck. Beaudoin back to the blue line, Von Richter. Aitchison on the near point. Kayshawn Aitchison back to Von Richter. His shot side of the net, side of the goal. Aitchison's dumped in front of the net as he was trying to get to that loose puck. Hemming at the point. Over to Von Richter. Jazzwall still in his net with 1:45 remaining. Puck goes off the boards. Humphreys can't cover it up. Zabeski's knocked down. Colts want a penalty. None coming. Kayshawn Aitchison in the corner. Back to Zabeski behind the net. That's taken away. At the point, kept in by Von Richter. Up to Beaudoin. Cole Beaudoin sets up Aitchison. Jazzwall's going to the net for the extra attacker. Beaudoin scores! Cole Beaudoin, Johnny on the spot, puts that one under the bar. And the Barrie Colts have come back to tie it at 5.
Oh, what a play. Parker Von Richter with the one-timer blocked out in front. Good work by Vlasic, but off his heel, right to Cole Beaudoin, left wide open. He's able to slap it home. No one on the Generals has a chance to get back in time. And once again, like we always say, they found a way. And it's tied again.
This game looked like it was done. The Oshawa Generals score on the power play. They're up 5-3. Barrie takes that penalty, the unsportsmanlike by Gardner. Score shorthanded and then have tied it up. Cole Beaudoin is 32nd of the season. I'm sure this is not the plan that the coaching staff drew up before the game.
Well, we talked a lot about it right off the start, that Oshawa, they stay in these games, but then late in the game, they can't find that extra goal. Well, it was the opposite tonight where they were ahead, but they just didn't have the capability to close it out yet, at least. Obviously, it's still a tied game and still anyone's game here.
Face off to the left of Jazzwall. Gardner steps in against Matthew Wang. Thought they're going to drop it. We'll try again. Gardner and Wang in the face-off dot to the left of Jazzwall. Scramble draw. Colts win it. Send it to the corner. Aitchison around to Wilmot. Wilmot's knocked over. Puck's out to center ice. Picked up by Lachon. He'll send it across to Moore. Moore sends that one wide of the net. Puck's loose. Aitchison trying to get to it. Taken there by Von Richter up to Salandra. Salandra will get this one out. It's Lucas Moore back to Lachon. We're in the final minute of the third period, tied at 5. Loose puck picked up by Aitchison. Aitchison falls. Play continues. Puck sent down the ice. Icing is waved off. Moore back to pick it up. 45 seconds left in the period. Moore, long pass, trying to catch the Colts on the line change. Here's Posthumus. His shot well over the net. Got too much under that one. And we'll get another face-off. 38.6 seconds remaining.
Posthumus kind of got lost there on that play. The Colts weren't exactly looking at him and kind of came a bit too slow onto the ice. Set up Oshawa with an opportunity up the wing, and Posthumus' shot deflected up into the netting though.
So this faceoff will come to the left of Arvin Jazzwall. What a finish to this hockey game. Rogowski taking the draw against Beaudoin. Faceoff won by the Colts. Semerton gets in the corner. He'll send it around. Hemming on the far side skates it out. Hemming to Zabeski. That's deflected. Rogowski trying to get a stick on it. And they're going to call this offside against the Colts.
Obviously, the last time Cole Beaudoin, Kayshawn Aitchison will play the Tribune Community Center in the OHL. And for them, I mean, lots of memories here, good and bad. And the series that put the Barrie Colts on the map over the last couple of years, the conference finals last year. But one thing Barrie has had is a good amount of regular season success against Oshawa over the last 3 years.
Zabeski enters the zone, 25 seconds left, takes the shot, stop, rebound. Zabeski trying to get to it again. Griffith gets this one up. Rogowski's going to skate it out for the Generals, dumps this one in. 15 seconds left. Calto after it. Colts pick it up. Here's Zabeski. Sebaski gets this one out to center ice. 6 seconds remaining. Moore fires this one in. That's going to go wide of the net. Emerton puts it behind the goal. And this one has just been so unscripted. We're just going to do some overtime here tonight.
Well, it'd be interesting to be on the phone call between Dylan Smoskowitz and Gene Pereira after the game for his article, because I'd love to hear how Dylan Smoskowitz feels about tonight's game. I mean, what a game between the Colts and the Generals. It looked over for a moment. Ben Wilmot opened the scoring in the first period, made it 1-0 for the Colts. Anthony Figliomani responding, tying the game at 1 apiece. Neil Hemming, Brad Gardner with goals for the Colts. Brady Vlasic, the goal in the first period as well. It was 3-2 for Barrie. Harrison Franzen tied the game. And from there, chaos in the third period. Couple big goals from Oshawa. Owen Griffin, 4-on-4. Brooks Rogowski on the power play. A huge shorthanded goal for Parker Von Richter made it a 1-goal game and set it up for Cole Baudouin to save the day and tie it at 5 apiece.
And give credit to Oshawa. They've controlled most of the game here tonight. Wasn't it just 4 shots on goal for Barrie in that first period?
Yep.
And really, Oshawa
7 in the second.
Yeah, and so Oshawa controlled most of the game. It wasn't until the third period late, that shorthanded goal from Von Richter, and then to tie it late, it's just some strange hockey to say the least. And now these two teams get some overtime. And for the Barrie Colts, 19 games have now needed extra time this season. They're 5-3 in the overtime period. And for Oshawa, this is now the 9th game that's needed overtime. They're 5-2 in the OT period. So overtime underway, no surprise. Aitchison, Hemming, and Baudouin are the 3 players for the Barrie Colts. Aitchison has it behind his own net. Gives this one to Cole Baudouin. Baudouin drops it to Aitchison. Aitchison's going to skate this one through the neutral zone. Leaves it for Baudouin. Baudouin trying to skate up the middle, but he had that poked away. Generals get it out. Here's Brooks Rogowski after it. Hemming trying to cut him off. Sends this one over to Moore. Moore, big hit. Stopped by Jaswal. What a chance for Oshawa, but now the Colts take it back. Cole Baudouin enters the zone on the far side. Baudouin will hit the brakes. He'll skate this one back to the point. Gives this one up to Hemming. Hemming in the high slot. He'll hold on to it. Takes the shot. Stopped by Humphreys. Rebound comes back to the blue line for Kayshawn Aitchison, and Aitchison's going to skate it out to center ice. Colts are getting ready for a line change. Hemming, he'll skate this one in. Hemming drops it back to Baudouin. Colts decide not to change. Baudouin takes it down low. Leaving it for Hemming. No, Baudouin around the net. Comes back to the point. Baudouin gives it to Wilmot. Wilmot to Aitchison. One-timer, and Humphreys got a piece of it. Wilmot back to Garner, who comes off the bench. Brad Garner takes it down low, across, deflected, and that scores. That's in the net. Ben Wilmot. That one just crossed the line, and the Barrie Colts have come back to win this one by a final score of 6-5.
What a finish here tonight. Just barely squeaking over. You could see it from up here. It was in the net. The Generals didn't realize they're still sitting around hoping that the puck didn't go in the net. But I think it did, and looks like the Barrie Colts are going to take this game by a score of 6-5. Ben Horebic went and grabbed the puck for Arvin Jaswal there, and Barrie Colts, at least they think they've won the game, but Oshawa Generals, they haven't conceded yet, but looks like they're done now.
While they're taking a look at it on the upstairs, they want to have the referee look at the tablet. We're seeing the replay on the scoreboard here at center ice. From our vantage point, it looked like across the line. Ben Wilmot went to the net.
Yeah, that's over right there. And Barrie says goodnight.
Yeah, the Barrie Colts they're going down the tunnel. The referee right now on the tablet, everyone for the Oshawa Generals still on the ice, although the coaching staff for Oshawa has left the game. The general players, I think, are holding out hope. There's a few Colt players still out there, but we're going to wait for confirmation from the official. But what a hockey game tonight.
Well, the good news for the Colts is that most of the guys still out there are the usual overtime suspects. So if no one comes back and it's no goals, they still got a shot.
Well, they're taking a long look at this. Our referees, Lacey Senek and James Kraft. Right now, it's Lacey Senek that's on the headset, and they're taking a look at this. And we're about to get the official results. So Senek puts on her helmet. She's going to point to center ice, and it's a good goal. So the Barrie Colts have won this hockey game 6-5 in overtime. And it's Ben Wilmot who will be the hero, his second of the game.
Well, what a play by the Colts. Wilmot and Gardner both coming off the bench, setting up some good chances. Kayshawn Aitchison sets a screen out through the middle of the zone, and then Gardner's able to play it down low to Wilmot, gets a touch on it. Puck went up in the air, bounced around, and just barely crossed the line. Owen Griffin didn't realize it did because he went flying back the other way, but Barrie Colts, they were already all on the ice celebrating. Another 2 points down, and they are still alive for that first seed. It was dicey tonight, but found a way.
Yeah, that game did not follow your typical script, because for this game, it went back and forth. And, for the Oshawa Generals, they played the Barrie Colts hard. They outshot Barrie in the first two periods. The Colts were getting into penalty trouble, and then a shorthanded goal from Vaughn Richter when they're down by 2 kind of changed the momentum. And it almost felt like Oshawa didn't know how to handle this wave of pressure coming from this Barrie Colts team, because in overtime, it was dominated by that Barrie Colts trio.
Yeah, there was one look for Oshawa, but outside of that, really nothing. And for Oshawa, just they didn't really, like you said, they didn't really know what to do. We talked about at the start how they struggled to get that late goal. Well, tonight it was they were up and they gave up the late goals, and that's a huge goal for momentum. Obviously, shorthanded to make it a 1-goal game, and then Barrie, you get the top guys out there, and they found a way. Cole Baudouin left wide open, gets the game-tying goal, and then Wilmot and Gardner come on the ice. Tired Generals out there, and they find a way to get it through, and big win for Barrie.
Now, you mentioned it. Curious as to what Dylan Smoskowitz has to say about this one when he talks to Gene Pereira post-game, because some of those penalties, undisciplined calls there for the Barrie Colts, in particular, Brad Gardner behind the opposition's net, kicks out the legs of the player. Was it intentional, unintentional? It's hard to say, but at the same time, you can't be putting yourself in those positions to take those kind of penalties in the first place when you're down by 2 goals trying to get back here against this Oshawa Generals team.
Yeah, especially you got to know the moment. I mean, it wasn't the second period with 10 minutes left. It was final minutes down by 2. You need a couple goals. You can't be spending half of the rest of the period shorthanded. But again,
they find a way.
They did it. I don't understand. I mean, they look done. The Generals had done a good job shutting them down, not letting them get chances all night. And then all of a sudden, Barrie gets one rush back the other way, shorthanded, make it a 1-goal game, and they went from there, and it was all Barrie down the stretch.
Yeah, because Matthew Humphreys, when he wasn't that busy in the first 2 periods of the hockey game, but when he was called upon, made some big saves, and it seemed as though the Colts just couldn't get any good quality scoring chances. Yes, for Wilmot opening the scoring that first period, and then the 2 power play goals in the second, but outside of that, there was really not much from the Barrie Colts. It was the Oshawa Generals who, playing their style of hockey, even seeing Mario Pouliot, the head coach of the Generals, running up and down the bench to talk to the players. He's got this team buying into his systems, and that's why we were saying earlier, yes, the Oshawa Generals won't make the playoffs this year, but the future is bright for this team, especially when you've got a head coach with a winning pedigree like Pouliot. You can see it's translating on the ice. It's just that lack of finish caught up to them again here tonight against the Barrie Colts.
Yeah, you can see some of the talent coming together. A guy like Brady Blasek had a strong game tonight. Luke Posthumous is an overager. He's done a good job leading this Generals team and mentoring a guy like Harrison Franson on his line. Franson was strong tonight. Anthony Figliomani, and then Matthew Humphreys. I mean, the final shot total, 29 shots, 6 goals against for 23 of 29. Doesn't look too good, but I thought he was solid. I didn't think he had much of a chance on almost all of the Barrie Colts goals tonight. Just some really good plays by the Colts, creating some pressure, and then guys left wide open.
Just waiting for the 3 stars to be announced. Well, they announced them on the ice, but I didn't catch them. But on the website, they have 3 generals being given the stars. I thought I heard Cole Bodwin. So I guess do we just go with these 3 stars?
Sure.
I'm going to refresh one more time.
Okay.
Maybe it's just an error on their part. But before we get that, our 3 stars presented by Craighurst Crossing by Georgian Communities, new homes just north of North Barrie, where small town charm meets big city developments. And your 3 stars here tonight. I'm just going with what the website's saying here on the game sheet. 3rd star, Brooks Rogowski of the Oshawa Generals, a goal and 2 assists. 2nd star, also from the Oshawa Generals, Vadim Smirnov, no goals, no assists, -1. And your 1st star is Owen Griffin, a goal and an assist. They've got 3 Oshawa players.
Yeah, I see what they did there. Smirnov's number 29. Did they put 29 Oshawa instead of 21 Barrie?
Oh, maybe that's supposed to be...
Because how do you, in a 11-goal game, how do you get a star as a 0-0 -1?
I'm just going to show the camera.
We're not lying.
This is what we've got. So...
I'm going to say Bodwin got 2nd star.
I heard Bodwin getting...
And I only saw 3 generals come out to give out 6. One is for, like, the hardest worker of the game that they do, and then the 2 guys that were stars. So I think
Bodwin should be the 2nd star.
I think they put in the wrong 29.
So it shouldn't be Smirnov. It should probably... Anyways, that's your 3 stars.
Yeah.
And now the Barrie Colts have to get ready for their next 2 road games. They're going to be in Kingston Wednesday night to take on the Frontenacs, and then Peterborough on Thursday. We'll have those 2 games here on the channel. And if you haven't clicked subscribe already, click subscribe so you're notified when the live stream gets underway. And we're talking to the Overagers today in the first intermission. Josh was able to catch up with Mason Zabetsky. So those next 2 broadcasts expect us to chat with Calvin Crombie and Brad Gardner as they wrap up their junior hockey career with the Barrie Colts. But we will have that game. The next one's Wednesday night at Slush Puppy Place. Gene will also be joining us, or so he says, right?
Apparently. I don't know.
He'll be here.
We'll see.
But anyways,
Slush Puppies, Gino's Pizza, Gene's in.
Gene's going to be there. So anyways, that'll do it for us here from the Tribute Community Center in Oshawa. 6-5 overtime final for the Barrie Colts. For Josh McCann, I'm Mike Poirier saying so long, and we'll talk to you Wednesday night from Kingston.